Alright, we're ready, Jacko.
That's for being British.
No, it has.
We ready? Am I Sam? Sam, I'm glad you're
Wait, who's reading the? Who's going to start now? What do you think?
It starts with Smeagol, so not Tom.
Starts with Smeagol and Gollum, and then Sam and Frodo. Probably, I guess, you will Potter.
Deagle Smeagol.
Okay, wait, grand opening. Welcome back, everybody, to
And who's Deagle though?
the latest and final chapter of our reading of the script of The Lord of the Rings. This is The Return of the King, the theatrical edition. Again.
Podtrack's Deagle. I'm reading them.
Podtrack's Deagle?
Okay.
Your Deagle's a Podtrack. Enjoy.
But like there's...
But he has like one line, I think.
Enjoy. You get strangled, you know?
Yeah, you gotta make the choking noises.
Yeah, okay.
But I don't remember how it sounds like. I mean, it's gonna sound like me. Okay.
He sounds a bit like Hammer, I think.
Wait, give me...
I mean, we all sound like each other anyway, so
I don't sound anything like myself.
yeah, you're right. You sound like
Let me look up what it sounds like.
a dumber version of yourself.
Look up what he sounds like.
Okay, wait, Potter, let me know how close I am. Smeagol, I've got one!
That's it.
That's pretty, yeah, is it? Jack, you can't just play the sound file and like...
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry.
Shall I start reading and then we're going to get to his line and he's not...
Yeah, I don't know, like...
What was I gonna say? Man, I'm looking through Sam's words. I don't remember much of this. Oh, fuck.
It's okay, just read the line.
Just read the line. Yeah, I know what's I gotta get into
Dude,
that mind. I'm
You've
not
seen this
replicating...
movie so many times, come on.
What's Sam's accent's name?
Sean Astin.
I'm not replicating Sean Astin, I'm replicating Sam. Not Sean Astin, Sam. How does Sam feel?
I'll help you by like portraying Frodo so accurately that you're just pulled into the movie.
I thought you were gonna say I'm pulled something else, but okay.
Sean Astin, aka Bob the Brain.
AKA one of the Goonies.
AKA... Has he been anything else about it? Man, Jacko, why do you need to drink so straight? Put something else in the glass, man.
No, but this is like a it's already
How strong is it?
21%?
Is that brown sauce?
It looks like brown sauce.
It looks like it's a plastic bottle of brown sauce.
It's glass. It must be glass.
Okay, wait. No, it's ceramic.
Sorry.
Ceramic.
Ceramic. I'm like,
Ceramic.
what's ceramic?
Dude, I know the word, I don't know how to pronounce it.
It's made of caramel.
Real solid sugar. You just eat it off.
It looks delicious, right? I mean, come on. Looks like iced tea.
You recognize this bad boy?
Oh, is that my water bottle?
Here's your water bottle. My
Dude,
friend.
I
got
don't
a
have
free
a water
water
bottle
bottle?
right now. I lost my new one. Can you send it to me?
You didn't
Still
want
missing
it.
my
You keep on
jacket,
looking
so-
like, I don't want that anymore.
Send it over. Alright, I'm ready.
Okay.
Oh, okay, we're actually right at the time? Cool.
No,
How do we know?
I wasn't willing to go, you know.
God.
Tom, you ready?
Stereo. I did just ready.
He doesn't
It's
say.
never gonna be.
He says,
Tom was
"Are we
born
though?"
ready. He was born ready.
Okay. I'm sorry, Chris. Go ahead.
River Anduin. Day. Angle on. Smeagol and his cousin, Deagle, sit in a small coracle. Their fishing lines draped over the side. Sunshine glinting off the surface of the water. An idyllic image. Suddenly, Deagle's fishing rod bends under the weight of a large fish.
Smeagol, I got one. Got a fish, Smeagol.
Go on, pull it in.
Deagle pulls on his rod, but is hauled overboard and disappears underwater with a splash. Smeagol leaning over the boat, concerned.
Deagle!
Underwater, Deagle is towed to the riverbed by a large fish. He suddenly lets go of the line, eyes fixed on a shining gold ring lying in the silt. Gladden Fields. Deagle climbs out of the water onto the riverbank. The ring revealed in Deagle's palm. Smeagol peers over his shoulder. The gold reflects in Smeagol's eyes. The hum of the ring grows louder.
So much capitalization.
Give us that Deagle, my love.
Deagle turns to look at him, a smirk on his face.
Oh, was it your meters?
Why?
Smeagol moves towards Deagle.
Because it's my birthday, and I want it.
Smeagol jumps on Deagle, strangling him. Smeagol rips the glittering ring from Deagle's limp hand.
My precious.
Smeagol slips the ring onto his finger and disappears.
And that scene's a lot longer in the movie.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's a lot longer.
Very connected to being strangled, you know? Yeah.
Also, who knew that Smeagol sounds exactly the same normally as Gollum?
He's already begun. People, you know?
Like I went to check.
Yeah.
Like because it's my birthday and I want it. It's
Yeah,
or like,
that's
the,
pretty smeagly.
Give us that Deagle, my love. Is
Already
like
being
Yeah,
legally
it's
taken.
like, in the movie also sounds exactly the same. It's so weird.
Yeah.
Dissolve 2.
yeah, he was creepy. That's why it got to him. You know.
Misty Mountains,
Oh, no.
Caves, Day. Smeagol descending into madness. His body twists and distorts. He becomes a creepy, shriveled wretch.
Man, Tom was
Oh,
born.
good impression, Tom, yeah. Finally crawling into a dark cave beneath the misty mountains.
Look at him in his dark cave.
Surprisingly bright right now.
They cursed us, murder, murder. They called us. They cursed us and drove us away. And we wept, precious. We wept to be so alone. And we forgot the taste of bread, the sound of trees, the softness of the wind. We even forgot our own name. Gollum, Gollum.
Ooh, nice.
Gollum in the cave, staring at the ring in his hand.
It's mine, my own. It came to me. My precious.
Covert. Vale of Morgul. Dawn. A grim landscape covered in thorn bushes and the scars of recent fires. The dark Morgul Valley disappears up towards the mountains. Frodo and Sam in a filthy covert. Sam twitches in a restless sleep, but Frodo is awake. His hand trails down to the chain around his neck. A sudden hiss. Frodo quickly hides the ring as Gollum peers at them with gleaming eyes.
Wake up! Wake up! Wake up, sleepies! We must go. Yes, we must go at once.
Sam stirs and looks at Frodo.
Haven't you had any sleep, Mr. Frodo?
Frodo shakes his head.
I've gone and had too much.
Sam looks at the dead brown twilight below the lowering cloud.
Must be getting late.
No, it isn't. It isn't midday yet. The days are growing darker.
The ground suddenly quivers as a rolling, rumbling noise echoes down the valley.
Come on, let's go. No time.
Not before Mr. Frodo's had something to eat.
No time to lose, silly.
Sam shoots Gollum a hostile look and turns back to rummage in his knapsack. He holds up a piece of dried lembas bread to Frodo.
Here.
What about you?
I'm not hungry. At least Ray's not for lembas bread.
Sam.
Alright. We don't have that much left. We have to be careful. We're gonna run out. You go ahead and eat that, Miss Frodo. I've rationed it. There should be enough.
Frodo looks at Sam questioningly.
For what?
The journey home.
Frodo says nothing. Frodo and Sam follow Gollum as he leads them on the winding, tortuous path, clambering through bracken and over jagged rocks.
Come, hobbitses. Very close now. Very close to Mordor. No safe places here. Hurry. Shh.
This is
this is-
Gandalf, Aragorn,
Yeah,
Legolas,
And Mary.
Gimli.
And is anyone Norton?
Chris? Not Chris. Tom?
Uh,
Tom, right?
think
Tom's
it's
not.
mine, yeah.
Yep.
Forest of Isengard, day. Gandalf leads Aragorn, Legolas, Theoden, and Gimli through dark woodland. The moving forest of Fangorn opens before them, creating an avenue of trees which allows them access along the old Isengard road. A thick, humid mist fills the forest. The forest separates ahead, revealing the ruins of Isengard. Isengard Gate. All about, the great stone wall is cracked and splintered into countless jagged shards. Far off, half veiled into the swirling steam, the Tower of Orthanc stands, unbroken by the storm. Pale waters lap about its feet. Two small hobbits are sitting on the smashed wall, Merry and Pippin. Spread before them is a feast of breads, meats, and wine. They puff on long pipes as they lie back in the sun.
I feel like I'm back at the Green Dragon after a hard day of work.
Only you've never done a hard day's work.
Merry cuts Pippin off before responding kind.
Welcome, my lords, to Isengard.
Gandalf, Aragorn, Legolas, and Gimli stare at the sight before them.
You young rascals. A merry hunt you've led us on. And now you find us you feasting and smoking. We're sitting on the field of victory, enjoying a few well-earned comforts. The salted pork is particularly good. Just pork.
Hobbits. We're under orders from Treebeard, who's taken over management of Isengard.
Gandalf leads the company through the flotsam and jetsam which floats upon the muddied waters surrounding the tower. Treebeard, the giant Ent, strides towards them, alarming all but Gandalf.
Whom, young Master Gandalf, I'm glad you've come. Wood and water, stock and stone I can master, but there's a wizard to be managed here, locked in his tower.
And there Saruman must remain, under your guard, Treebeard.
Let's just have his head and be done with it.
Gandalf stares up the long length of the dark tower.
No. He has no power anymore.
The old Ent nods his head wisely.
The filth of Saruman is washing away. Trees will come back to live here. Young trees. Wild trees.
Close on Pippin, his eye caught by something lying in the water. The muddy waters glowing with golden light. Aragorn turns as quick as a flash. Pippin has jumped off his horse and picked up the palantir.
It's a bit of a puzzle.
Oh, bless
Yeah.
my bark. I don't remember that line.
Aragorn took. I'll take that, my lad.
Pippin doesn't move, his eyes staring in wonder at the smooth black stone.
Quickly now.
Reluctantly, Pippin hands the palantir to Gandalf, who immediately smothers it in his cloak. Gandalf looks back at Pippin, troubled. Edoras Day. A group of riders gallop towards the Rohan city of Edoras. Eowyn standing alone outside the Golden Hall, waiting. Edoras Golden Hall evening. A roaring fire, a lamb roasting on Spitfire. Spit.
Yes, a spit indeed.
Long tables laden with food, barrels of wine, a banquet is laid ready for the returning soldiers.
I have no memory of these lines. Tonight, remember those who gave their blood to defend this country. Hail the victorious dead!
You don't remember that line? Yeah, when everyone's like,
Hail.
yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Not really.
Wow. Amidst the cheering crowd, Eowyn moves towards Aragorn as she proffers the chalice their eyes meet.
Vesu Aragon Hall.
Eowyn watches as Aragorn moves away. A voice speaks in her ear.
I am happy for you.
Eowyn looks at her uncle as Theoden follows her gaze.
He's an honorable man.
You're both honorable men.
It was not Theoden of Rohan who led our people to victory.
Eowyn looks at him questioningly, disturbed by his tone.
Something happened to my name here.
The Odin.
The cinema.
Don't listen to me. You are young, and tonight is for you.
Eowyn watches concerned as her uncle moves away. Merry and Pippin are in full voice
Here
on
we
top of one of the tables. Both hold very large mugs of ale in their hands.
Oh god, we need.
You can
We
search
need fucking
up and-
music.
Come on, sing along with me. You can search up and down as many lands as can be found.
Down,
But you'll
and
never
drink.
find a beer so brown as the one we drink in our hometown. You can drink your fancy ale. You can drink and find a bucket. The only brew for the brave and true. Come on, Dragon.
The fucking melody of the first part I was completely like I completely forgot on the first melody.
We'll never find a bit so brown.
Angelon, Gandalf laughing and clapping the hobbits. Aragorn steps up beside him, smiling at the floor show.
No news or photo.
No word. Nothing.
We still have time.
Gandalf turns quickly to Aragorn.
Every day, Frodo moves closer to Mordor.
Gandalf watches his friend's face, seeking reassurance.
Do we know that?
What does your heart tell you?
That Frodo is alive. Yes. Yes, he is alive.
Someone else know?
Smeagol, Gollum for a long time.
Track, take us away.
Yep.
Yeah, but yes.
Okay.
Oh god.
Tom, this is your Oscar performance. Get ready.
Yeah, fucking.
Frodo and Sam lie asleep amidst shrubby bushes near a stagnant pool. Smeagol lies nearby, muttering in his sleep.
Too risky, too risky. The thieves, they stole it from us. Kill them, kill them, kill them both.
Smeagol wakes up suddenly, shaking, his face drenched in sweat, eyes wide in horror.
No! Shh, quiet.
Smeagol's features suddenly transform into the
Malevolent.
Malevolent.
Can't
Ma.
fucking why can't I
Ma.
Say it in
Ma.
Swedish. Say it in
Malevolent.
Swedish. Say it in Swedish.
Yeah, that's the
say
Swedish
so,
version.
Gollum.
Mustn't wake them. Mustn't ruin it now.
Smeagol casts a quick glance over his shoulder to the sleeping figures of Frodo and Sam as he clambers off his rock, silently sliding towards the edge of a stagnant pool.
They knows. They knows. They suspects us.
Smeagol stares into the murky depths of the water. The surface ripples as the face of Gollum appears as Smeagol's reflection.
What is it saying, my precious, my love? Is Smeagol losing his nerve? No, not, never. Smeagol hates nasty hobbits. Smeagol wants to see them dead. And we will. Smeagol did it once. He can do it again.
Smeagol, Flash inserts Smeagol's choking deagle, fingers locked tight around his throat.
It's ours. Ours. We must get the precious. We must get it back. Patience. Patience, my love. First, we must lead them to her. We lead them to the windy stairs. Yes, the stairs. And then, up the stairs we go until we come to the tunnel. And when they go in, there's no coming out. She's always hungry. She always needs to feed. She must eat. All she gets is filthy orcs. They don't taste very nice, does they, precious? No, not very nice at all, my love. She hungers for sweeter meats.
Sam,
I look so tasty.
his eyes flickers open.
Hobbit meat. And when she throws away the bones in the empty clothes, then we will find it and take it for me. For us. Yes, we meant for us. Gollum, for Gollum. The precious will be ours once the hobbits are dead.
Suddenly, a Sam image mirrored in the water as he smacks Gollum in the head with his pot.
You treacherous little toad! No, he doesn't.
Sam drops the pot, flinging himself on top of Gollum. Gollum screams, his arms and leg flailing wildly.
No, not help, master!
Frodo staggers over to Sam and pulls him off for Gollum.
No, Sam, leave him alone.
Gollum huddled on the ground, whimpering and sobbing.
I heard it from his own mouth. He means to murder us.
Never! Smeagol wouldn't hurt a fly. He's horrid, fat hobbit who hates Smeagol and makes up nasty lies.
Sam makes for Smeagol again with a look of murderous rage.
You miserable little maggot. I'll stuff your head in.
Frodo grabs Sam's arm.
Sam.
Call me a liar. You're a liar.
Sam! If you scare him off, we're lost.
Sam pulls away from Frodo.
I can't do it. Oh, sorry. I don't care. I can't do it, Mr. Frodo. I won't wait around for him to kill us.
I'm not sending him away.
Sam stares at Frodo, at a loss.
You don't see it, do you? He's a villain.
We can't do this by ourselves, Sam. Not without a guide. I need you on my side.
Sam, his face softening.
I'm on your side, Mr. Frodo.
I know, Sam. I know. You must trust me.
And Frodo beckons to Gollum.
Come, Smeagol.
Gollum turns slowly, staring at Sam through hooded, hate-filled eyes, and smiles. Edoras, golden hall, early dawn. Oh, there's a lot. There's some
Tom?
Pippin coming in.
I think
Wait,
it's
come again, eh?
me again. Yeah. Okay. Aragorn joins Legolas on the steps to the Golden Hall. Oblivious to the chill wind, they look out across the sleeping city to the looming mountain range beyond. Dark clouds mark the sky.
The stars are veiled. Something stirs in the east. A sleepless malice.
Legolas looks at Aragorn, realization in his face.
The eye of the enemy is moving.
Edoras, sleeping quarters, early dawn. Clothes on, Pippin. He is awake. He sits up, anxious, fidgety. Suddenly, he hops out of bed and creeps towards the sleeping form of Gandalf.
What are you doing?
Pippin gasps with fright. Merry is sitting up, wiping sleep from his eyes. He moves on. A sleeping Gandalf lies with eyes wide open, but Pippin is undeterred. Merry sits up, a worried look on his face.
Pippin? Pippin? Pippin! What are you doing?
So
With
good.
quick stealth, Pippin lifts the wrapped palantir from Gandalf's grasp.
Pippin! Are you mad?
I just want to have a look at it. Just one more time.
Oh, sorry. Put it back! Put it back!
Pippin unwraps the palantir, and as Merry looks on, horrified, he gazes intently into it.
Pippin!
As Pippin lays his hand on the crystal, a sickly pale light slowly spreads from the glass ball into Pippin's face. His eyes widen.
Pippin! There's so much intensity I can dial up into a whisper.
Yeah. Pippin!
On the steps of the Golden Hall, Legolas turns to Aragorn.
He is here.
Like an elven
Pippin
sense.
suddenly starts to hyperventilate. He staggers backwards, Palantir held rigidly before him. The great eye of Sauron seems to leap from the fire. Pippin is bathed in the fiery red light.
I see you.
Pippin sinks to his knees, his mouth open in a soundless scream. He falls backwards, powerless to release the fiery glow.
Help! Someone help him!
Gandalf wakes with a start, just as Aragorn enters and wrenches the Palantir from Pippin's hand. Pippin falls to the floor. Aragorn spins away, reeling backwards, the Palantir falling from his hands. The Palantir rolls across the floor, causing everyone in the room to cower back. Gandalf throws a blanket over it. Angry disbelief on his face, he rounds on Pippin.
Fool of a took!
Gandalf lifts the hobbit's slumped head.
Pippin!
Pippin is trembling. Gandalf calms him.
Gandalf, give me.
Look at me. What did you see?
Tree. Was a white tree. In a courtyard of stone. Dead.
Flash insert. A lone white tree silhouetted by flames.
City was burning.
Minas Tirith? Ooh, 3 question marks. Wow, it's like...
Yes, there is. There is.
Is that what you saw?
I saw him. I could hear his voice in my head.
And what did you tell him? Speak!
He asked me my name. Didn't answer. It hurt me.
What did you tell
Gandalf,
him? Oh, sorry. Sorry, go on.
Gandalf stares at Pippin with a frightening intensity.
What did you tell him about Frodo with the ring?
Chris, you get so into the scene.
No, I'm just in there in my head.
Shut up, director.
Cut, I'll cut you!
Theoden stands in the Golden Hall, gravely listening to Gandalf. Aragorn, Legolas, and Gimli look on.
Everyone does a lot of looking on, but not saying much.
Yeah, Legolas is...
There was no lie in Pippin's eyes. A fool, but an honest fool he remains. He told Sauron nothing of Frodo and the ring.
Gimli lets out a sigh of relief. Gandalf turns to look at Theoden.
We've been strangely fortunate. What Pippin saw in a Palantir was a glimpse of our enemy's plan.
Gandalf looks from one to the other of the gathered company.
Sauron moves to strike the city of Minas Tirith. His defeat in Helm's Deep showed our enemy one thing.
The wizard turns towards Aragorn.
The heir of Elendil has come forth. Men are not as weak as he supposed. There is courage still, strength enough left to challenge him.
Theoden listens intently, saying nothing.
Good luck, Chris.
Sauron fears this. He will not risk the peoples of Middle-earth uniting under one banner. He will raze Minas Tirith to the ground before he sees the return of the king.
Sounds very nosy.
It's a pretty good film, though.
But no, not that one. It's like 20 minutes after the final action. I can't watch it.
I'm not a nerd. Aragorn. He knows Gandalf speaks the truth.
Aragorn is knowing things again.
I don't need to say anything.
If the beacons of Gondor are lit, Rohan must be ready for war.
Theoden holds Gandalf's gaze.
Oh shit, that's me. Tell me, why should we ride to the aid of those who do not come to ours?
Aragorn turns to look at Theoden.
What do we owe Gondor?
I will go.
No.
They must be warned.
They will be. You must come to Minas Tirith by another road. Follow the river. Look to the black ships. Understand this. Things are now in motion that cannot be undone.
Gandalf turns on his heel and stares at
But
his
how does he
surprised
know about the
Pippin.
black ships?
I ride for Minas Tirith, and I won't be going alone.
He's a divination wizard.
Yeah.
Gandalf hurries along the streets. Pippin and Merry run alongside, trying to keep up.
Of all the inquisitive hobbits, Peregrine Took, you are the worst. Hurry, hurry.
Pippin catches up to Merry.
Where are we going?
Why did you look? Why do you always have to look?
Why is your Mary so good? Okay, sorry.
I don't know. I can't help it.
Merry turns away.
You never can.
I'm sorry, alright? I won't do it again.
This is too much for Merry. He turns on Pippin.
Don't you understand? The enemy thinks you have the ring. He's going to be looking for you, Pip. They have to get you out of here.
And you're coming with me, Mary?
Come on.
Push on Pippin's face as Merry strides away. Now, I just want to say something, right? Listening to just now to Jacko's Theoden, right? If we do Godfather, Jacko has to be Don Corleone.
I see what you mean. I got
Come to my daughter's wedding.
Exactly. There we go.
I do remember Theoden having a bit of like a higher voice, a little bit of.
It's a little bit different than that, I think. But
I think it's fine.
I haven't seen it in a while. Okay. I think I still continue, right?
There were stables, yeah.
Oh my god. Why is this so much fucking narration?
So much Mary, Pippin.
There's so much narration a little bit down. Okay. Pippin is dumped unceremoniously onto the back of Shadowfax as Gandalf hurriedly prepares to leave.
How far is Minas Tirith?
3 days' ride as the Nazgul flies, and you'd better hope we don't have one of those on our tail.
Merry thrusts a small package into Pippin's hand.
Here. Something for the road.
Pippin stares down at the leather-bound bundle of pipeweed.
Last long bottom leaf.
I know you've run out. You smoke too much, Pip.
But we'll see each other soon.
A worried Merry exchanges glances with Gandalf.
It's hard for me to roleplay.
Won't we?
I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen.
Gandalf mounts Shadowfax.
Mary?
Gandalf spurs the great horse forward.
Run, Shadowfax. Show us the meaning of haste.
Shadowfax thunders out of the stables, goes on Merry's devastated face.
If you want to swap out looks, I don't say anything for a really fucking long time, apparently.
Yeah,
so I'm
go
happy
for
to
it.
like take.
Go.
Dude, I like was looking. I'm like, when the Aragorn doesn't say anything at this point.
But he has a lot of lines in this movie, right?
Apparently,
A lot of stuff to do, at least.
I don't know, man. But like,
But
I
no,
scroll down. It's a long fucking. It's
When I
cool.
watch the movies, Aragorn does do most of his acting through like his face
Yeah,
and like how
he does a lot of fish. Yeah.
doesn't.
Who was Arwen again? Oh, it's Tom.
Man,
Just the Elven escort.
Elven. Chris, you want to be the Elven escort? Yeah,
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so exterior gates of.
Pull out your New Zealand accent.
Ooh. Exterior gates of Edoras day. And on Shadowfax, carrying Gandalf and Pippin out of the gate and down the winding road towards the plains of Rohan. In the Edoras gate's lookout, it angles on Merry clambering up a watchtower, Aragorn in pursuit. You see the small figure as he watches his best friend disappear into the distance. Close up on Aragorn, he knows what it is to lose someone.
Wow.
The exterior of Rivendell Forest in the day. Arwen, escorted by a small entourage of elves, ride through the gathering darkness of a pine forest.
Take her by the safest road. A ship lies anchored in Grey Havens. It waits to carry her across the sea. The last journey of Arwen and Numil.
In slow motion, as Arwen rides through the forest, the figure of a small boy of about 5 suddenly runs across the path in front of her. Arwen reins in Asfaloth. Something about the boy intrigues her, but she does not know why. As Arwen watches, the boy moves away. The trees begin to thin, and the boy continues running. One by one, the trees transform into tall white pillars. The boy now stands within a vision of the majestic architecture of the great Gondorian city of Minas Tirith. A silhouetted figure appears in the distance and moves towards the child. The boy runs to the figure. Arwen watches as the figure holds out its arms, swinging the laughing child into the air. The figure turns to reveal Aragorn, a little older, dressed in the casual finery of a Gondorian noble.
There you are.
Close on, the child, now in Aragorn's arms, looks directly at Arwen. It is a quiet look, filled with infinite sadness. Arwen's eyes drop to the child's chest. Around the child's neck hangs the Even Star. Close on, Arwen, as she realizes she is staring at a future that can never be. The child she and Aragorn will never have.
Gonna stand in stark contrast to Smeagol jumps onto his back, strangling him.
They had a lot of direction for this scene. Insert Elrond speaking to his daughter.
Arwen, there is nothing for you here. Only death.
Arwen shuts her eyes. When she opens them again, the vision is gone. She is staring at dark trees once more.
Lady Arwen,
Arwen turns towards her companion, who stares at her, concerned.
we cannot delay.
Suddenly,
So
Arwen
that
wheels
feminine, but it's
Asfaloth
close.
around, riding away.
My lady!
Exterior of Rivendell.
It's really close, actually.
That is
Yeah.
Brad of the Fight of the Conquerors. You're doing.
Wide shot as Arwen's horse gallops over the bridge and through the gates into Rivendell. Elrond is seated alone. Arwen runs up the stairs towards him.
What did you see?
Elrond
Arwen?
stands, stunned. Stunned, Jacko!
Now he's into the scene, Jack.
Jacko, you better be stunned, okay?
Arwen.
Arwen. Oh, sorry, I thought you did.
I
Arwen.
was still being
leaving
stunned,
hard.
man. Come on.
Sorry, you were stunned a long time. Stunned one, I see how it is. Arwen breathing hard, walking towards Elrond with a fierce light in her eyes.
You have the gift of foresight. Tell me what you have seen.
Elrond, his face grim.
I looked into your future and I saw death.
There is also life.
Her father turns away.
You saw there was a child. You saw my son.
Elrond stares into space. The fight seems to go out of him. He won't look at her.
That future is almost gone.
But it is not lost.
Nothing is certain.
Arwen gently takes her father's face in her hands and turns him towards her.
Some things are certain. If I leave him now, I will regret it forever. Ada, it is time.
A hooded figure ascends a curved staircase towards a gallery. The figure stops before a statue that holds the broken shards of an ancient sword in its arms.
From the ashes of fire shall be woken, a light from the shadow shall spring. Renewed shall be blade that was broken.
The blade shattering in several fragments as Isildur brandishes Narsil at Sauron.
The crownless again shall be king.
The hooded figure looks up into the sorrowful face of the statue. The figure is Arwen.
Reforge the sword.
Goosebumps.
I literally.
My body was like, ooh, a sword.
I love
Okay,
that poem so much.
Interior of Arwen's chamber, driven down in the night. Elrond stares at his daughter, unwavering.
Ada.
Elrond turns away. Arwen's in anguish. Sits on her bed. The book falls to the floor. Elrond picks up her journal and takes one of her hands in his.
Your hands are cold. The life of the Eldar is leaving you.
Elrond's despair is plain. Draco? Okay.
It has begun.
This was my choice, Ada. Whether by your will or not, there is no ship now that can bear me hence.
Anger on Elrond, he understands now that to protect his daughter, he must trust her. Images. A broken sword glows with red heat, displayed in several fragments. A heavy hammer pounds the red-hot blade on the anvil, as elven smiths temper the steel. Elrond's face lit by flickering fire as sparks fly in the Rivendell forge. Close up, the sword is withdrawn from a pool of steaming water. Light shimmers as the water drops slide down the blade of Narsil. The sword that was broken has been remade.
Good thing Elrond's a smith as well. Like,
Yeah, right. All elves are experts. Yeah, you're 10,000 years old. You might as well learn this.
Professions, you know. Like...
Level 60 in all these classes. Exterior foothills of the White Mountain at night. Close up, Pippin asleep. Gandalf's protective arm around him. As Shadowfax thunders through the night. Now at daytime, Shadowfax powers along the countryside. Pippin huddled in front of Gandalf, the wind sailing through his hair.
We have just passed into the realm of Gondor.
Is that what it says?
I love Gondor. King Gawain.
Exterior of Minas Tirith, dawn. Angor and Shadowfax gallops up onto a low ridge. Before them is a dark mass of Mount Mindulun, its tall white face whitening in the rising sun. Upon its outthrust knee is the guarded city, Minas Tirith, with 7 walls of white stone, so strong and old that it seems to have been not built. Minas Tirith looks carven by giants out of the bones of the earth.
Minas Tirith, city of kings.
Suddenly, the sun climbs over the eastern hills and sends forth a shaft of sunlight that gleams against the face of the city. The Tower of Echelon stands high within the topmost walls. White banners break and flutter from the battlements in the morning breeze. Exterior Minas Tirith in the streets. Gandalf steering Shadowfax up the steep streets of Minas Tirith. Baby, the stairs of fighting Gondorians as Gandalf and Pippin gallop through the winding streets. An aerial shot of Shadowfax carrying Gandalf and Pippin up towards the 7th layer. Minas Tirith is built from 7 layers. Each one rises. The city reaches a height of nearly 1,000 feet on the topmost level.
It's like an
a towering bastion of natural rock,
Attack of Titan.
shaded like a sharp ship's prow, bisects the city from the 2nd level to the top. Exterior Minas Tirith, Court of the Kings, daytime. Shadowfax arrives at a great citadel on the summit of the city, 1,000 feet above the Pelennor fields. Gandalf and Pippin dismount, leaving the guards of the citadel to tend to Shadowfax. Gandalf hurries off. Close up on Pippin as he takes in his surroundings. His eye is caught by a dead tree that stands in the middle of the court. 4 solemn citadel guards standing sentry around it.
It's a tree. Gandalf! Gandalf!
Yes, the white tree of Gondor, the tree of the king.
Gandalf leads Pippin across a flat court of white stones, surrounded by green lawns, towards a great hall beneath the gleaming tower.
Lord Denethor, however, is not the king. He is a steward only, a caretaker of the throne.
Gandalf lowers his voice as they approach the tower hall.
Now, listen carefully. Lord Denethor is Boromir's father. To give him news of his beloved son's death would be most unwise. And do not mention Frodo. Or the ring. And say nothing of Aragorn either. In fact, it's better at all if you don't speak at all, Pippin took.
Close up and Pippin, suitably
Chastened.
chastened, as he said, nods. Interior Minister in the tower hall in daytime. Angorn, a long solemn hall with rows of black marble pillars. Between the pillars stand a silent company of tall kings carved in cold stone. Gandalf strides down the hall, with Pippin following obediently behind. At the far end, upon a dais of many steps, sits a large empty throne, and on the wall behind is the image of a flowering white tree set in gems. At the foot of the dais, in a small stone chair, sits an old man gazing in his lap. Denethor, the Lord Steward of Gondor. I have to say it. It's my job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hail Denethor, son of Ecthelion, Lord and Steward of Gondor.
Denethor does not look up as Gandalf and Pippin approach.
I come with tidings in this dark hour, and with counsel.
Denethor slowly raises cold eyes.
Perhaps you come to explain this.
Denethor holds up Boromir's broken horn.
Perhaps you come to tell me why my son is dead.
Close up, Pippin remembering. Insert him.
Oh yeah, that happened.
Oh yeah, Boromir!
Man, that was like a year and a half ago.
Make a history check, please.
Oh yeah, he rolled double once. I remember that.
Right, insert image. Boromir, as Urkai arrows stud into his body, he falls to his knees. Pippin starts forward, unable to say nothing.
Unable to
Boromir dying to save us. My kinsman and me. He fell defending us from many foes.
Close up. Denethor, pain flickers in his eyes. Let's see it.
Pippin.
Pippin drops to his knee, offering Denethor his sword.
I offer you my service, such as it is, in payment of this debt.
Denethor looks at Pippin blankly, overcome with grief.
Get up. My lord, there will be a time to grieve for Boromir, but it is not now. War is coming. The enemy is on your doorstep. As steward, you are charged with the defense of this city.
You do so well.
Where are Gondor's armies?
Denethor's gaze turns slowly on Gandalf.
You still have friends. You are not alone in this fight. Send word to Theoden of Rohan. Light the beacons.
Denethor smiles at Gandalf, as if amused by something.
You think you are wise, Mithrandir? Yet, for your subtleties, you have not wisdom. You think the eyes of the White Tower are blind. I've seen more than you know. With your left hand, you would use me as a shield against Mordor, and with your right, you would seek to supplant me.
Close up, Gandalf looks shocked. Denethor's eyes narrow.
I know who rides with Theoden of Rohan. Oh yes, word has reached my ears of this Aragorn, son of Arathorn. And I tell you now, I will not bow to this ranger from the north. Blast our ragged house, long bereft of lordship.
Authority is not given to you to deny the return of the king, steward.
The rule of Gondor is mine, and no others!
Close up, Pippin horrified.
Okay, we have to make an executive decision not to laugh at Gondor anymore.
It's hard.
We can't keep doing this.
Gondor is mine.
I'm desperately searching for a good.
Steward of Gondor.
I am desperately searching for a good picture of flock of condors.
The one with a crown.
The army of Condor, you know.
Alright, close up. Pippin, horrified. Gandalf looks at Denethor closely for a moment, then turns on his heel to leave. Pippin follows.
Come.
Gandalf and Pippin stride from the tower hall. Denethor slumps back into his seat. Tom, please slump. Slump. Thank you. Interior of Minas Tirith. Pippin's, that's how he sits. In Pippin's quarters at night. Angle 1. Pippin is carefully laying out a small uniform of the Royal Guard on a bed.
So, I mean, this is just a ceremonial position. I mean, they don't exactly expect me to do any fighting, do they?
Wide shot. Gandalf standing quietly on a balcony that overlooks the great city.
You're in the service of the steward now. You're going to have to do as you're told, Peregrine Took, guard of the citadel.
Mr. Balcony Night. Angle 1. Pippin as he stares up at the vast night sky.
It's so quiet.
Gandalf watches the young hobbit.
It's the deep breath before the plunge.
Oh, I don't want to be in battle. Waiting on the edge of one I can't escape is even worse. Is there any hope, Gandalf? For Frodo and Sam?
Gandalf joins Pippin. They look towards the distant, jagged mountains of Mordor.
There never was much hope.
Pippin looks up at him, unnerved. Gandalf gives him a small, self-depreciating smile.
Deprecating.
Wow, just telling the English guy to speak his language.
Yeah. Sorry, I catch this sometimes.
Yep.
What is it meant to be?
Deprecating.
Nah, not in Scotland, boys.
Really?
Appreciate it. Yeah. It's like you appreciate someone, right? You do appreciate it.
Self-deprecating is like...
Nah, not in Scotland, Chris. You're not from there. Scotland.
And I'm trying to doubt it.
Anyway, just a fool's hope.
Gandalf and Pippin share a quiet moment as they stare out towards the fiery sky over Mordor.
Our enemy is almost ready. His full strength gathered. Not only orcs. Not only orcs. Men as well.
Insert image. Giant Mumigil carrying armies upon their backs.
Legions of Haradrim from the south.
Insert image. Corsair ships sail up the river.
Mercenaries from the coast. All will answer Mordor's call.
And on Gandalf, he is talking almost to himself now. Like a man unable to prevent a sure disaster.
This will be the end of Gondor as we know it. Here the hammerstroke will fall hardest.
Insert image. The battle-scarred city of Osgiliath. Last bastion between Minas Tirith and Mordor.
If the river is taken, if the garrison at Osgiliath fails, the last defense of this city will be gone.
Close on. Pippin, desperately seeking reassurance.
But we have the White Wizard. They gotta count for something.
Gandalf looks down at Pippin. He says nothing.
Gandalf?
Gandalf stares into the distance as if seeing something in his mind's eye. Insert image. A towering, hooded figure dressed in black is being dressed in armor by attendant orcs.
Sauron has yet to reveal his deadliest servant. The one who will lead Mordor's armies in war. The one they say no living man can kill.
Close on. Gandalf, still staring intently as if facing his enemy in person.
The Witch King of Angmar. You've met him before.
Pippin looks up at Gandalf, afraid to ask.
He stabbed Frodo on Weathertop.
Insert image. Frodo screaming as the Mogul blade is driven. Thank you. Pippin blanches at the memory.
I missed this as well. Like, this unbeatable enemy got, like, terrified by Aragorn with a fucking torch.
Aragorn is fucking nothing to sniff at, is all I'm saying.
Well, that Aragorn.
He was just surprised. He wasn't terrified.
Really, it's the other 5 Nazgul that really drops the blade, so to say.
He is the Lord of the Nazgul, the greatest of the 9.
Miss Morgul Knight.
And Minas Morgul is his lair.
Who we talk about? I'm saying is in the books, Gandalf is like I remember. I always find it interesting like Gandalf talking about how strong he is, right? Because they don't mention. I don't think there's lines in there, but in the books, there's definitely a line where he's like, "I'm more dangerous than fucking everyone else." Like apart from like Sauron, he's like, it's like I think. Wait, is it in the film? It's like when they're told when like. I can't remember.
In the film, it's never really.
In the only like thing with Gandalf and other than this scene in the film with Gandalf. In the extended edition, his staff gets broken by him, but
Yeah.
Yeah. Like in the book, there's like a line where he supposedly says like, "I'm more dangerous than any unless you maybe come on." Like it's like I'm more dangerous than any unless you come upon the seat of the Dark Lord in Milford. Yeah. But like he could fuck up the
Pretty
Witch.
arrogant.
Witch King just blows his staff up.
Because the Witch King,
yeah.
a Witch King like destroyed all the northern kingdoms of the humans.
Yeah, but like this is Gandalf. Yeah, this is Gandalf when he comes
Yeah,
back. Like,
sure.
right, when Levi actually comes back and like before he becomes kind of normal again, he's like,
Yeah,
"Yeah, my god,
but
forget
obviously
about
he's no-
this. Who the
no-
fuck
he's
are you
no
guys again?
bitch.
I'm Gandalf. Oh yeah, memory's back." Right, anyway,
Was
this
it
is,
you and I played through the War in the North with that like role playing game, the Lord of the Rings one?
Like
Who
the
was that?
expansion?
Yeah, what? Wait,
Yeah, you remember like with like
a long time ago.
Eladan and Elro here, and like
No, was it me?
fucking around, and I think it was you.
Familiar.
I mean, I've played it, but I don't think with
Lots
you
of
guys.
eagles hanging out and like
Maybe this was a long time ago. Right?
yeah. It's like a sort of, it's like a multiplayer RPG. You know, not multiplayer, like a 3-player. It's like all up to 3 players. 'Cause, like,
Yeah, dude, this was a long time ago.
yeah,
right?
yeah. I wish to play that at some point.
Yeah, that was a good game. We should play that again. Yeah, I remember playing that. That was a good.
Um,
Anyway, so this is probably pod track or
Okay.
one or two.
I mean, Frodo has like one line, I think.
Maybe
I
this is
haven't
the
done
photo.
the
No,
rest of
Photo's more lines.
Okay, yeah, sure.
Maybe I don't know. I thought this was the Sam and Photo part.
yeah, I can see at least 2 Frodo lines.
Anyway, I'm gonna go back to where we are. Okay, there. Frodo and Sam clamber into.
That's pretty soon, though. I think. Like,
What's pretty soon, sorry?
no, just Gandalf talking to himself. Okay.
Pippin's just in the scene. He's not actually says anything. Frodo and Sam clamber into a small gully beside a rough-hewn road. Road? Gollum carefully peers over the lip of the gully. Angle of Minas Morgul, a massive dead city, set up on a rocky knee at the head of the Morgul Valley. Corrupt and loathsome, it glows from sticky luminous light like a corpse candle. 2 huge bestial stone statues guard a bridge that leads to the city.
The dead city. Very nasty place. Full of enemies.
Gollum, Frodo, and Sam hurry from their cover, scampering into the shadows towards Minas Morgul.
Quick, quick. They will see. They will see.
Frodo, close on Frodo. He looks up at the hideous statue. His senses start reeling.
Come away. Come away. Look, we have found it.
Sam and Frodo look aghast at the sight of a narrow, near vertical staircase cut into the rock face, directly in front of Minas Morgul's gate.
The way into Mordor.
Following the stairs, higher and higher up the sheer western side of Morgul Valley, the high peaks and razor-like mountains of Mordor.
The secret stairs. Climb.
Suddenly, Frodo staggers across the road as if some force, other than his own will, is at work. He lurches towards the bridge, towards Minas Morgul.
No, Mr. Frodo!
Not that way.
As Sam runs after Frodo, catches him in his arms as he stumbles.
What's it doing?
No!
Sam and Gollum pull Frodo from the bridge.
They're calling me.
Nice, good line.
Thank you.
Frodo falls to the ground. At that moment, the ground quivers, and a great rumbling noise rolls across the ground and echoes in the mountains. The cold, dull Morgul Valley is suddenly violent and fierce, as uprushing flame springs from Mount Doom. Minas Morgul answers. A flare of livid lightning, forks of blue flame springs up from the tower into the sullen cloud. Let's see here. Minas Tirith balcony, night. Angle on violent fire flashes, flashes off light. I feel like.
No, flashes. They light up the clouds.
No, okay, never mind. Flashes light the clouds above Mordor. Sharp thunder rolls across 40 miles to Minas Tirith. Pippin looking on in frightened awe. Gandalf's comforting hand rests on his shoulder. Minas Morgul Knight. Sam and Gollum lead Frodo to the stairs. Stairs above Minas Morgul. The sky is bright with light as the city erupts.
Hide! Hide!
Minas Tirith battlements, night. Face of soldiers and civilians of Minas Tirith as they watch the parapets of the city. From the parapets of the city. Minas Morgul night. Frodo and Sam sink to the ground, holding their hands against their ears as out of the city comes the rendering screech, shivering, rising swiftly to the piercing
Tom?
pitch, beyond the range of hearing. The terrible cry ends, falling back through a long, sickening wail to silence. Frodo slowly rises.
You have to do the sickening screech.
I don't wanna.
Frodo slowly raises.
Okay.
It sounds like a fucking.
That's a
Bird
condor
cat.
if I ever heard.
That's why he's raised dinosaur steward of Condor.
Yeah, exactly.
Steward of a Condor. Frodo slowly raises his head across the narrow valley, directly opposite the hobbits. The Lord of the Nazgul, the Witch King, suddenly rises up from the dead city on his fell beast. As the Witch King settles on the battlements of Minas Morgul, his dark head turns this way and that, sweeping the shadows with unseen eyes, as if sensing the ring. Angled on Frodo, breaking into a cold sweat, he squeezes his eyes shut, clutching his shirt as if it's on fire.
I can feel his blade.
The cavernous gate of Minas Morgul swing open, and a huge army marches out. Rank upon rank of almond-clad orcs, moving swiftly and silently, past close to Frodo and Sam in an endless stream of ragged columns. Minas Tirith balcony, night. Gandalf.
We come to it at last. The great battle of our time.
Minas Morgul, night. 75,000 orcs march to war just below Frodo and Sam. Voiceover Gandalf.
This war is long planned. Sauron has hated the West through many ages. It is a hatred that flows from the depths of time across the deeps of the sea.
The Witch King swoops down the valley to join the head of his army. He vanishes into the gloom, a shadow into shadow. Gollum peers out from his stony hiding place.
Come, hobbits, we climb. We must climb.
This was a very long scene that was very short in the movie.
Yeah, right? I think it's more than
Yeah. Angle and Frodo, Sam, and Gollum climb the stony stairs high above the marching army. Minas Tirith balcony. Gandalf thinking, calculating.
The board is set. The pieces are moving.
Minas Tirith 6th level, night. Gandalf striding back streets of the city, so determined, purposeful he is, that Pippin has to run to keep up. Gandalf suddenly stops and looks down on Pippin.
Peregrine Took, my lad. There is a task to be done. Another opportunity for one of the Shire folk to prove their great worth.
Gandalf kneels down and looks at Pippin earnestly, his hand on Pippin's shoulder.
You must not fail.
Roll intimidation check. Gandalf watches as Pippin hurries away.
Deception check.
Another opportunity. Yeah, sure.
Yes. Where's the Clelia? River Anduin, night. Wide on an ancient stone bridge, which spans the ruins of east and west of Gilead. A once mighty Gondorian city. Wide on Ithilien rangers patrolling the bridge and the riverbank. West Gilead has fallen into disrepair, but the desolation of the east of Gilead is more pronounced. It is held by the forces of Mordor. Camera tracks down beneath the bridge to the dark waters, catching a stealthy movement. Angle on many boats carrying murderous-looking orcs and are quietly tracking down the river. On board, several 100 figures stare with long oars.
Wait, Gothmog isn't here.
Wait, you know he just wanted to do it so much.
Standing. Quiet.
That's actually pretty good. West Skipton, River Anduin, night. I thought we were already there. Anyway, Faramir, captain of Gondor. Still a Condor, as he issues orders to his soldiers.
To the river, quick!
Angle and Ithilien Rangers take position, as they're all weathered, hardened, professional soldiers. Watchful, ready, waiting.
Oh, he's here?
He's here.
The boy is here!
Is it you, Ian?
Get
You're
a Gothmog line, Ian.
Oh,
Faster.
that's a disabled guy.
Yeah, we already did this first Gothmog line.
Faster! There you go.
Okay. On the on the river, the boats quickly advance. Tom?
No, Tom's only over.
No, I'm
They're whispering now.
I had nothing but maggoty bread for feasting. That's one of the orcs saying in the background.
Faramir and his soldiers lie in wait.
Pretty
As the
bad.
boat arrive, hundreds of orcs race ashore. Faramir steps out, his sword drawn. A fierce battle ensues. But Faramir is unable to stop the advance of hundreds of orcs across the wide bridge into west of Gilead. Mount Mindolin?
Doluin.
Mindolin? Mindolin?
Doluin.
Halloween.
No, it's been doing Mindolian. No, Mindolian.
Luin. It's definitely Luin at the end.
Luin.
Luin? Mindolin?
Doesn't matter, let's go.
Mindolin? Dawn. It's dawn anyway. It's a mount something and it's dawn.
Mount
A high
Big
angle on a dazzling view, looking down on Minas Tirith, 1,000 feet below, as Pippin desperately scrambles up the rocky mountainside. Minas Tirith beacon, dawn. Pippin clambers over a rocky ledge and ducks behind a stone wall, panting heavily. Angle on an ancient stone ledge, holding a great pile of firewood, secured in stacked bundles, the Minas Tirith beacon. Two board citadel guards sit chatting, passing the long hours. Minas Tirith streets, dawn. Angle and Gandalf as he waits tensely below. Minas Tirith beacon, dawn. Angle and Pippin as stealthily manages to pour oil on the wood and set a flame to it. Waiting seconds, the great power is alit. The gods look in total surprise as the flames erupt in the twilight sky. Minas Tirith streets. Angle and Gandalf as the beacon bursts into flames. His eyes flash briefly with triumph before he hurries off. Minas Tirith battlements, dusk. And the beacon glows brightly on the slopes of Mount Mindolin. High above Minas Tirith, pull back. Gandalf hurries to the battlement, looking further west along the White Mountains.
Amandine, come on.
A bright fire ignites on a distant mountain peak. Noisy commotion in the city as people realize the beacons has been lit.
The beacon at Amandine is lit. AF.
Oh fuck!
Denethor staring at the beacon from the citadel window. A look of black fury on his face. It's racist. Gandalf, with a strange smile, plays on his face.
Hope is kindled.
Nice
White
pun.
Mountains. White Mountains. Night. Mounting, moving over the White Mountains as the trail of great fire slowly winds from peak to peak. Ezra's country yard dawn. A rocky peak. Country yard?
Courtyard.
Courtyard. Country yard.
Courtyard. Take me home.
A rocky peak high above Ezra's. A great beacon fire is ignited. On the soundtrack, a bell tolls urgently. Close on, Aragorn looks tensely out across the mountains. Pull back, Aragorn runs towards the golden hole. Edras, golden hole, dawn. Close up, Aragorn bursts in the golden hole.
The beacons of Minas Tirith! The beacons are lit! Gondor!
It just matters me every time. How can we not laugh at this, Jacko? There's so many epic moments.
The beacons of Minas Tirith! The beacons are lit! Gondor calls for aid.
Theoden looks up startled. It was so hype though, and then Condor, then the Condor.
Yeah, project.
Eowyn. Eomer turned to look at their uncle. Tension builds up. Builds, not even up. Theoden, his head lowered. Slowly it rises. He looks Aragorn in the eye.
And Rohan will answer. Must the Rohan hear him?
Edoras courtyard. Dawn. Edoras look out. A soldier ringing the great bell in alarm. As below in the courtyard, soldiers mount their steeds amid great activity. Theoden strides purposely outside, flanked by Eomer and soldiers.
Assemble the army.
Compose yourselves.
You okay?
I'm mute.
Oh, let me take a bit quickly. Okay, I can do this. Assemble the army at Dunharrow, as many men as can be found. You have 2 days. On the third, we ride for Gondor, and war.
Theoden strides into the parapets.
Gamling, make haste across the Riddermark. Summon every able-bodied man to Dunharrow.
Theoden watches as below the soldiers prepare. Eowyn hurriedly pulling on riding gloves, preparing to mount her horse.
You ride with us?
Eowyn turns and runs smack into Aragorn. Gesturing encampment. It's tradition for the women of the court to farewell the men.
Bet it is.
Have a good night.
Should we change narration? Or?
Yeah, we
I don't know.
could.
Eowyn and Eomer's coming up.
Faramir is about to come up.
I don't see a lot of Ian. I don't see a lot of me as well. I can do it. Or Ian.
Yeah, go on.
You do.
Wait, I just scrolled.
Aragorn smiles.
Aragorn smiles. Reaching past her, he lifts a cover to reveal a sword strapped to the side of the saddle of their horse. Eowyn deftly pulls the cover back down. She looks at Aragorn.
The men found their captain. They will follow you into battle, even to death. You give us hope.
Pull back to reveal Theoden, staring around the streets and people of Edoras. It is as if he knows he will not see this place again. Oh.
Foreshadowing.
Yeah.
So, it is before the walls of Minas Tirith that the doom of our time will be decided. Angelon Eomer, astride his horse, calls to the assembled soldiers. Oh, this might be my favorite line. Go ahead, Tom. He calls to the assembled soldiers.
You're muted, Tom. Man, that'd be embarrassing for you, wouldn't it?
Now is the hour, riders of Rohan. Oaths you have taken. Now fulfill them all. To lord and land.
Exterior plains of Rohan Day. Angelon Theoden astride Snowmane as he, Eomer, Aragorn, Merry and Legolas and Gimli ride out amid a great column of Rohirrim, thundering towards Dunharrow in the mountains. Exterior west of Osgiliath, River Anduin at day. Angelon Faramir and his men, they're fighting a losing battle against a Mordor invasion.
We can't hold them! The city is lost!
Tell the men to break up. We ride for Minas Tirith.
The soundtrack, ominous sounds of winds rising, huge wings beating.
Tom, make the
No,
Make the Tom, make the shrieking noise, the condor.
Dude, now I'm in an edit of this where like the Nazgul, the Fell Beasts all replaced with condors. Like,
Well, that's when the eagles are coming, you know?
yeah.
Okay, spinning angle on Faramir, looking up at the sky. Astillian rangers are suddenly nervous, frightened. A huge shadow passes overhead.
Take cover!
A sudden terrifying shriek rends the air.
Pull back! Pull back to Minas Tirith!
Anglon, the soldiers retreating through the ruins of the city, as high in the sky above the Nazgul will swoop. Anglon Madril as he is cut down by an orc. Close up on Madril as his breathing quick and shallow, footsteps approach. Anglon, the hideously deformed features of Gothmog standing over the prone figure of the injured ranger. Grabbing a spear from a nearby underling, Gothmog drives his shafts into Madril's chest. Close up on Gothmog surveying the carnage with satisfaction.
The age of men. No,
The age of men.
Oh yeah, the age of men is over. The time of the orcs have come.
Exterior Pelennor Fields during the day. Faramir and a few survivors flee west Osgiliath, desperately riding towards Minas Tirith. In the sky above, dark shapes pursue them. Anglon, suddenly from on high, the Nazgul strike. Till down, following the Nazgul as it swoops out of low-lying murky clouds, tossing men in the air like limp ragdolls. At that moment, across the plain, a figure clothed in white rides towards them. From the battlements of Minas Tirith, a call. The White Rider! Exterior Pelennor Fields, day. Wide on Gandalf as he spurs Shadowfax forward. Pippin clings tightly to the great horse's mane. Anglon Faramir, sword in hand, remains at the rear, trying desperately to fend off the deadly assault. Again the fell beasts dive low. Gandalf thunders into view, raising his staff. A shaft of white light suddenly stabs upwards. The Nazgul swerve away from the light as it pierces the low cloud. For a brief moment, sunlight streams through the hole onto Pelennor Fields. The Nazgul circle away from the sun rays, swiftly spiraling higher and higher. The Nazgul defeated, Gandalf and the Rangers ride towards the safety of Minas Tirith. Minas Tirith's gates, Anglon Eorlus running towards the gates, yelling,
Open the gates! Pull!
Who the fuck is Eorlus?
This guy.
The great gates open, allowing Gandalf, Pippin, Faramir and Osgiliath survivors to ride in, nearly 100 wounded and shocked men. As Gandalf pulls Shadowfax up,
Mithrandir!
Anglon Faramir steering his horse through the crowd towards Gandalf.
They broke through our defences. They have taken the bridge on the west bank. Battalions of orcs are crossing the river.
Oh, this guy. Okay.
It is that the Lord Dinosaur predicted. Long as he foreseen this doom.
Foreseen and done nothing.
Faramir suddenly stares at Pippin. Gandalf reads the surprise in his eyes.
Faramir, this is not the first halfling to have crossed your path.
Faramir shakes his head.
No.
You have seen Frodo and Sam?
Faramir nods.
Where? When? In Ithilien, not 2 days ago. Gandalf, they are taking the road to the Morgul Vale. And then the pass of Cirith Ungol.
Close up on Gandalf, deeply troubled.
What does that mean? What's wrong?
Faramir, tell me everything. But do it off screen so I don't have to roleplay with myself.
Exterior Ungol stares. This is Gollum.
Frodo says fucking nothing in this little scene, yeah. So I guess you're gonna keep going, yeah.
Yeah, it's only...
Yeah, okay. Anglon, Frodo and Sam following Gollum up the dizzying stairway carved into the sheer cliff. The steps are narrow, unevenly spaced, and many are broken. They are so steep that Frodo and Sam climb as if on a ladder, their desperate fingers clinging to the steps above, trying not to look at the long black fall below them. Anglon, Frodo's foot slipping, and for a brief moment, he is hanging precariously from the rock face.
Tom, you're muted, remember.
Gollum, careful, master.
Careful, master. Careful. Very far to fall. Very high pitch, no?
Careful, master, careful. Very far to fall. Very dangerous on the stairs.
Anglon, Gollum peering down from above, he has reached a small ledge.
Come, master.
Close up on Frodo trying to clamber up onto the ledge. As he does, the ring slips out of his shirt and dangles in full view of Gollum. Close up on Gollum rears back in shock, dances like a cat, eyes widening.
Come to Smeagol.
Frodo, head bowed, trying to pull himself up. He doesn't notice Gollum's hand reaching for the ring. Gollum's fingers closing in on the ring. Sam, still teetering on the precipitous stairs, draws his sword.
Mr. Frodo!
Startled, Frodo looks down at Sam, losing his footing in the process.
Get back, you! Don't touch him!
Sam's horrified face as Gollum's outstretched hand suddenly grasps Frodo's arm, pulling him safely onto the ledge. Gollum glares down at Sam.
Why does he hate poor Smeagol? What has Smeagol ever done to him, Master?
Gollum blinks, masking the malice of his eyes with their heavy pale lids.
Master carries heavy burden. Smeagol knows. Heavy burden. Fat one cannot know. Smeagol look after Master.
Gollum creeps close to Frodo and whispers in his ear.
He wants it. He needs it. Smeagol sees it in his eye. Very soon he will ask you for it. You will see. The fat one will take it from you.
Shit. Are you kidding me?
Close up on Frodo looking at Sam, his hands traced to his neck, closing tight around the ring. High above Osgiliath, the sinister profile of the Witch King seated on a fell beast as Gothmog stands, awaiting his orders.
Send forth all legions.
Tom's the Witch King.
Mine.
No, it's mine. It's written right here.
It is?
No, I'm the dead, different king. Don't mind me. Yeah. No, Tom, you're the Witch King. My bad. I stole your line. Go right ahead.
But the Witch King is like the easiest voice to do, right? You just like do
Send forth.
Yes, you, the raspy boy.
Yeah.
Hey, Tom, you know your Witch King's
now. Send forth all legions. Do not stop the attack until the city is taken. Slay them all.
What of the wizard? I can't remember what he said.
He's a lot manlier with the
Yeah.
How does he sound?
It's kind of like he sounds like he's having trouble even speaking.
What of the wizard? How did no? But someone do it. What of the wizard? What of the wizard?
What of the wizard?
What of the wizard? Alright, so he's got like something. What of the wizard? Whatever. Gothmog's my guy. I'll do it how I want.
Yeah. You're improving.
Thank you. Slowly, the Witch King's head.
Oh,
turned.
sorry, my. Slowly, the Witch King's head turns.
I shall break him.
Ministry's battlements. Reactions of Gondorian soldiers upon the Ministry's battlements. Awe, fear, terror. Anxious soldiers crowd around Gandalf.
Where is Theoden's riders?
Will Rohan's army come?
It's right.
Randy.
That's what
It's
three
all your
soldiers.
warning.
No, that's the same roll. My bad. Okay. From the beginning, up top. Anxious soldiers crowd around Gandalf.
Where is Theoden's riders?
Will Rohan's army come?
Miss Randy?
Courage is the best defense that you have now.
What the fuck does that
The
mean?
interior of the Ministry's Tower Hall.
You see this purple dog? Courage will
Pippin, dressed in oversized armor, kneels before Thanathor.
Here, I swear fealty and service to Gondor, in peace of war, in living or dying, from the hour henceforth until my lord release me, or death take me, or you in this case.
And I shall not forget it, nor fail to reward that which is given.
Thanathor proffers his ring, which Pippin kisses.
Fealty with love.
Thanathor gently raises Pippin's head. Thanathor's eyes meet Faramir's.
Valor with honor.
Thanathor crosses to a table. Attendants begin serving him a meal.
Disloyalty with vengeance.
Thanathor addresses his meal. What?
I do not think we should so lightly abandon the outer defenses. Defenses that your brother long held intact.
What would you have me do?
I will not yield the river in Pelennor unfought. Osgiliath must be retaken.
My lord, Osgiliath is overrun.
Much must be risked in war. Is there a captain here who still has the courage to do his lord's will?
Close up on Faramir as he finally realizes the truth.
You wish now that our places had been exchanged? That I had died and Boromir had lived?
For a brief second, Thanathor seems to hesitate. Then
Yes, I wish that.
it's even colder than in the movie.
So cold.
Since
No.
you are robbed of Boromir, I will do what I can in his stead.
Faramir bows low to Thanathor, then turns to leave, stops, turns back.
If I should return, think better of me, father.
That will depend on the manner of your return.
Thanathor continues with his meal. Faramir exits. Anyone else feeling the narration? Or Sam,
See,
there's
Sam
your
and Smeagol now.
Frodo
Chris,
has a
you
few
get
lines, so yeah.
I can do it for the Sam and Frodo and Smeagol bit, but then I've got Gandalf and Faramir.
do it
Yeah.
a little bit.
Do it for
Okay,
me.
sure.
There's not a lot of narration from the look of it.
Sure. Aerial shot. Oh, it's about, by the way, Kirith Ungol Ledge. In
Oh,
case
thank you.
there's any
Thank
doubt.
you. Legendary.
Aerial
Need
shot.
my yeah.
High above Minas Morgul, on the small ledge next to the stairs, lie the figures of Frodo, Sam, and Gollum. Sam watches a sleeping Gollum suspiciously as he desperately tries to stay awake. Slowly, inevitably, Sam falls asleep. Gollum's eyes snap open. He sits up and quietly crawls towards Sam's knapsack. Sam breathes deeply now, heavily asleep. Gollum grimaces in distaste as he pulls out the lembas bread. Quietly, he sprinkles crumbs over the sleeping Sam. Gollum as he throws the remaining lembas bread over the cliff. Sam's eyes flick open. Gollum spins around, caught off guard.
What are you up to? Sneaking off, are we?
Sneaking? Sneaking? Fat Hobbit is always so polite. Smeagol shows us secret ways that nobody else could find. They say, sneak! Sneak! Very nice, friends. Oh yes, my precious. Very nice.
All right. You just startled me as all. What were you doing?
Sneaking.
Piece of shit.
That's the best. I love that line.
Sneaking.
What are you doing? Sneaking. Too exhausted to argue, Sam turns away.
Fine. Have it your own way.
Sam gently shakes Frodo's shoulder.
Sorry to wake you, Mr. Frodo. We have to be moving on.
Sam rummages through his knapsack, looking for a bite to eat. Frodo sits up slowly.
Give me the jacket.
Very important line. It's dark still.
It's always dark here.
Sam stops rummaging, shock on his face.
It's gone! The oven bread!
What? That's all we have left.
Sam turns slowly to Gollum.
He took it! He must have!
Smeagol? No! Not poor Smeagol. Smeagol hates nasty elf bread.
You're a lying wretch! What did you do with it?
He doesn't eat it. He can't have taken it.
What the fuck's that logic for? Come on.
Gollum slaps his hand against Sam's
Bread literally can all disappear by eating it.
Lembas bread crumbs raining down.
What's this? Sorry.
What's this? Crumbs on his jackets. He took it. He took it. I've seen him. He's always stuck killing himself and Master's not looking.
That's a filthy lie!
Sam is enraged. He throws himself at Gollum, punching him.
You stinking two-faced sneak! Call me a thief!
Sam! Stop it!
Frodo pulls Sam off Gollum.
I'll kill him! I'll kill him!
No, Sam!
Frodo collapses on the ground. Sam's horrified face.
Alright, I'm sorry. I didn't mean for you to go so far. I was so angry. Here, let's rest up a bit.
Sam attempts to fuss around Frodo.
I'm alright.
No, you're not alright. You're exhausted. It's that Gollum. It's this place. It's that thing around your neck. I could help a bit. I could carry it for a while. Share the load.
Share the load.
Share
the load. A terrible light comes into Frodo's eyes. He stares into the earnest eyes of Sam.
Get away!
Frodo punches Sam away, clutching at the ring beneath his shirt.
I don't want to keep it. I just want to help.
Frodo rises to his feet, as if empowered with a frightening, intense energy.
See? He wants it for himself.
Shut up, you. Go away. Get out of here.
Frodo.
No, Sam. It's you.
Sam stares at Frodo with disbelief.
I'm sorry, Sam.
Tears well in Sam's eyes.
But he's a liar. He's poisoned you against me.
You can't help me anymore.
You don't mean that.
Go home.
Tears spill down Sam's cheeks as
Just kidding.
Frodo turns away.
What are you shitting me? What the fuck, Frodo?
So oblivious.
Yeah.
Frodo and Gollum leave. Sam is in complete misery.
Man, can I say something? This came to me earlier, right, when we were doing the whole someone mentioned like a check, like in D&D. I think it would. This is like a crazy idea, but you could do like a script reading, and anytime it was like, "Oh, this would be a check," you roll a check, and then you ad lib the response. And you try to like tie it in with how the story would change while like still using part of the script. I was like,
that's-
man, that'd be
what the
so
fuck?
fucking fun. Like,
That'd
holy
be-
shit.
That'd be
Sounds
horrible.
hard. When you do this
It
one,
sounds
Frodo
crazy
just goes
idea.
on his like insight sheet, and it's just like when you do this part of the story, Frodo
Just
just
ad
goes on
lib.
his
You
insight,
like, Sam.
like, fuck off, Gollum, I did deserve.
And then but then they still go into to split the letter anyway. But that's the way up, right? And for see this comes later. Like you could make it work.
Maybe it's
Yeah.
But at a certain point,
actually,
it sort
for-
of changed
like,
too much.
the-
Right?
Yeah, I mean, it depends how good you roll.
Just like
Yeah.
when you get to the point of like, when you get to the point where Isildur tries to cut the ring from Sauron's, and it's like that one. It's like, oh,
And you know the tackles. You do like all the checks. Like you do the dialogue.
Social
checks.
checks, yeah.
But what like throw it into the fire, natural 20. Like
I mean, he's right. Yeah.
short story.
You don't do Isildur. You don't do Isildur.
Who wants to read here?
Who? Gandalf.
Gandalf.
Yeah, I
Then
can
it's all
go
Pippin.
again,
some
but
Pippin as well. Yeah.
Okay, I'm happy to do it as well.
There's a
Thomas,
lot of reading coming up, so what I'm saying.
Ian shows up in a bit, but then Aragorn shows up in a bit.
yeah, Ian, you haven't done very much, right?
I
So.
could technically have kept going. It's only like a bit of Gandalf and Faramir here, and then it's
Well,
all...
let's. Ian hasn't done much narration at all.
Yeah,
Anyway,
yeah.
So.
Sure. We are at, okay. Exterior Ministry of Streets Day. Angron, Faramir leading a column of 200 knights through the streets towards the city gate. People rushing forward, throwing flowers over the knights. Close up, Gandalf hurries alongside Faramir's horse.
Faramir, your father's will has turned to madness. Do not throw your life away so rashly. Where does my allegiance lie, if not here?
It's okay.
Gandalf reads the pain in Faramir's eyes. He calls after him, trying once more time to stop the young man.
Your father loves you, Faramir, and will remember it before the end.
Exterior Minister of Battlements Day. Faramir leads the 200 mounted knights towards the gates of Minas and across the Pelennor fields towards the ruins of Skiliath.
Right, Patrick, are you ready to?
You're ready to sing, yeah? You're ready for your solo?
And go on, the people of Minas watching from battlements. Hide shot. Faramir's knights fan out to form one straight line of 200 horsemen. Exterior west of Skiliath Day. Gothmog and his men watch as the knights approach. Interior the Tower Hall. Fast push in to Pippin looking on at Denethor eats.
Can you sing, Master Hobbit?
Well, yes, at least well enough for my own people. We have no songs of great halls and evil times. We seldom sing of anything more terrible than the wind and rain.
Why should your songs be unfit for my halls, or for hours such as these? Come, sing me a song.
Pippin's simple, clear voice echoes through the valley. That's your direction, Patrick.
Home is behind, and the world ahead. And there are many paths to tread, through shadow to the edge of night, until the stars are all alight. Mist and shadow, cloud and shade, all shall fade, all shall fade.
Dude, yeah, like that was
Very nice. That's like Pippin singing style, you know? Nice and clear.
You went for it.
The
Yeah.
tomato gets crunchy. That's not very nice.
Yeah.
But into your cuts, Jack,
Yes.
please, when he
Yes,
said
I should have been eating food like a
Yeah.
The tomato stalks are plummeting.
Pelennor Field of Gilead ruins in the day. Slow motion, tracking with the 200 mounted knights. Slow motion as Gothmog rides amidst the ruins of Osgiliath. More slow motion as Faramir's knights, only 75 yards away, are sundering towards the camera. Pull back to Gothmog. He turns to the camera and winks and raises his bow. Angle 1, slow motion, behind Gothmog, all over the ruined city. 5,000, shit, they didn't tell me the number.
5,000.
Orc archers rise to their feet, black arrows already strung on their bows. More slow motion. Family yelling defiantly. Wide profile. Slow motion as Faramir's 200 knights ride straight into the black wall of flying arrows. As one of the horses and horsemen collapse into a cartwheeling, tumbling heap. Within seconds, all are moved.
That's for the imagination.
Close on normal speed, fast cuts of screaming orcs.
Not good for the cat, well, for the
Not good.
cinema.
Yeah. All the animal abuse.
Yeah.
Interior Tower Hall, Minas Tirith, day. Throughout the above sequence, Denethor has continued to eat. Anger on Pippin as he finishes his bittersweet song. He looks up at Denethor, who continues as if he had not sent his son to his death. Pippin turns away, his sorrow etched on his young face. In the exterior courtyard, Gandalf sits quietly in a courtyard, alone, defeated. The exterior of Vasiliev Bridge in the day. Great siege towers and catapults are rolling along the repaired bridge which spans both sides of Osgiliath. They head straight towards Minas Tirith. Am I about to get some lines? Yeah, I get some now. This one else want to like from the done having go on.
Either Chris or Tom, I guess.
Tom probably, right? There's no Smeagol, there's no Denethor, there's none of these people.
Done her own encampments.
Guess you're muted. You're the king.
Some Marshall and some Grimbold and, you know.
No hammer.
Rip hammer.
Some Denethor, number 2. Who's gonna do?
What's it?
You are
Who?
reading
Me?
it from
Aragorn.
Aragorn, Theoden, and Naomi. End of page 61.
Okay.
Because you did.
Exxon, Aragorn, Theoden, Eomer, Merry, Legolas, and Gimli gallop into a vast camp beneath the cover of trees, teeming with men, horses, and tents. Angelon, Theoden acknowledges Grimbold, a marshal of Rohan, as he passes by a group of soldiers.
Grimbold, how many?
I bring 500 men from the Westfold, my lord.
We have 300 more from Felmarch, Theoden King.
Theoden smiles grimly as he rides on.
What's the next Denethor? Check this.
Where are the riders from Snowbourne?
Quietly, please.
Oh, where are the
None
riders
have
from
come, my
Snowbourne?
lord.
Podrick was gambling, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was also Rohan Marshall. That's,
He was?
None have come, my lord.
Exterior Dunharrow Plateau dusk. Aragorn joins Theoden on a bluff overlooking the
Get
encampment
another
below.
looking onward scene.
Camera cranes to reveal thousands of
That's a
men
lot.
and horses. Smoke from many small campfires has filled the valley with a twilight haze.
6,000 spears. Less than half of what I had hoped for.
Aragorn turns to Theoden.
6,000 will not be enough to break the lines of Mordor.
More will come.
Keep it together, in.
Every hour lost hastens Gondor's defeat. We have till dawn. Then we must ride.
Theoden goes on. Theoden realizing what Aragorn is saying. No matter the numbers, he must commit to war by the morning. Theoden nods. The horses whine loudly in the distance.
Whinny.
Theoden looks up. Whine, whatever. Theoden looks up at the mountain which looms behind him. Exterior Dunharrow Plateau, dusk. Angelon, horses rearing in terror as Rohan's soldiers try to quiet them. Legolas and Gimli move through the camp. Legolas looking at a group of Rohan's soldiers. They sit quiet and hunched, no one speaking. Legolas looking toward Eomer, who is unsaddling his horse.
The horses are restless, and the men are quiet.
They grow nervous in the shadow of the mountain. Gimli's eyes travel to a row of ancient standing stones that mark the entrance to a road leading away from the encampment and into the mountain.
I don't remember this part. That road there. Where does it lead?
It is the road to the Dimholds, the door under the mountain.
None who venture there ever return. That mountain is evil. Angelon, Aragorn stands before the road as though transfixed. Before him, a horse whinnies and pulls at his ropes nervously. A ghostly figure seems to emerge from the gloom. Aragorn starts to fright as.
Aragorn!
Aragorn stares down at the little dwarf.
Let's find some food.
Aragorn casts another look back at the ancient standing stones before following Gimli. All is quiet in the encampment. Interior, Ewan's tent, down arrow night. Ewan kneels before Mary, adjusting his helmet strap.
There. A true esquire of Rohan.
Mary exhales, excited and terrified in equal measure. In his excitement, he draws his sword. Eowyn steps back laughing.
Sorry. It isn't all that dangerous. It isn't even sharp.
It's bullshit. You have like an OP sword in the book.
Well, that's no good. Some people kill many oars with a blunt blade. Come on.
Better mind many oars with
As Eowyn and Mary leave the tent, Eomer and Gamling are sitting nearby, finishing a meal. Eowyn ushers Mary off.
To this buffet. Go.
Mary hurries off. Eomer watches the young hobbit leave. You should not encourage him.
And you should not doubt him.
You do not doubt his heart, only the reach of his arm.
Close up on
Gamling
Gamling.
stifles a laugh. Eowyn turns on both of them.
Why should Mary be left behind? He has a cause to go to war as you. Why can he not fight for those he loves?
Meanwhile, at the plateau edge, a guard looks down the steep precipice as a horse and rider move along the ridge.
Oh shit.
The hooded figure slowly rides up the narrow zigzag track leading up to the plateau. Aragorn tosses in his sleep, disturbed by images and voices.
Look to the black ships.
In Aragorn's dream, Arwen suddenly wakes. I choose immortal life. I wish I could have seen him one last time. As Arwen lies dying, the even star falls from her fingers. At that moment, Aragorn wakes, his sword quickly in his hand. A guard stands in the doorway.
King Theoden awaits you, my lord.
You got lines coming.
Okay, retake, you got it.
King Theoden awaits you, my lord.
Aragorn hurries towards Theoden's tent. Into Theoden's tent. Theoden looks up as Aragorn enters.
I'll take my leave.
Theoden bows slightly to the hooded figure and leaves, shooting Aragorn a strange look as he goes. The figure stands and pulls back the hood to reveal Elrond.
My lord, Elrond.
I come on behalf of one who I'm loved.
Elrond's face is etched with pain.
Arwen is dying.
Aragorn receiving this news, ashen-faced.
She stayed.
She will not long survive the evil that now spreads from Mordor.
Elrond's eyes fall to the even star which hangs around Aragorn's neck.
The light of the even star is failing. As Sauron's power grows, her strength wanes. Arwen's life is now tied to the fate of the ring. The shadow is upon us, Aragorn. The end has come.
It will not be our end, but his.
You ride to war, but not to victory. Sauron's armies march on Minas Tirith. You know. But in secret, he sends another force, which will attack from the river.
Aragorn looks at Elrond in shock.
A fleet of corsair ships sails from the south.
Flashes at a fleet of black sails moving along a silver ribbon of water.
They will be in the city in 2 days. You are outnumbered, Aragorn. You need more men.
There are none.
Elrond hesitates a bit.
There are those who dwell in the mountain.
A sudden wind rushes through the tent, lifting hangings, scattering maps, knocking over goblets. As Aragorn looks at Elrond, an image flashes in his mind's eye. The ghostly figure on the Dimhold road. Aragorn looks at Elrond in shock.
Murderers, traitors, you have called upon them to fight? They believe in nothing. They answer to no one.
They will answer to the king of Gondor.
Aragorn's eyes fall to a plain black scabbard, which Elrond draws from beneath his robes. Elrond's long white fingers draw the hilt of a sword from the scabbard to reveal an elven sword glints in firelight.
and the real flame of the West, forged from the shards of Narsil.
Aragorn takes the sword, staring at it in wonder.
Sauron will not have forgotten the sword of Elendil.
Aragorn draws the long blade from its sheath.
The blade that was broken shall return to Minas Tirith.
The man who can wield the power of this sword can summon to him an army more deadly than any that walks this earth.
Elrond stares hard at Aragorn.
Put aside the ranger. Become who you are born to be. Take the dim old road.
A heavy silence hangs in the room.
Onan Yesta Ledain.
Uchebin Estoanin. I keep none for myself.
Aragorn reaches the sword. Then her plateau night, as Aragorn readies Brago for leaving Eowyn. Approaches, her temper barely held in check.
Why are you doing this?
Aragorn looks over his shoulder at her.
The war lies to the east. You cannot leave it to the eve of battle. You cannot demand men.
Eowyn.
We need you here.
Aragorn rounds on her.
Why have you come?
Are the lines in italics for the rest of it? Is the whole rest of the script suddenly in italics? Like,
Look, they just put the setting on.
Do you not know?
Aragorn looks at her sadly, not wanting to hurt her.
It is but a shadow and a sword that you love. I cannot give you what you seek.
Eowyn steps back, her thoughts struck. She watches stricken as Aragorn leaves. Exterior Don Harrow Plateau night. Aragorn leads his horse through the tents towards the dim old road. A light flares ahead of him. A short figure steps out of the shadows, pipe in hand.
And just where do you think you're off to?
Aragorn looks at Gimli, grateful for his courage, but determined to go alone.
Not this time. This time you must stay, my friend.
Have you learned nothing of the stubbornness of dwarves?
Aragorn looks at Legolas as he appears, leading his horse, already saddled. Gimli steps closer to Aragorn.
You might as well accept it. We're going with you, laddie.
Aragorn shakes his head, smiling his acceptance. Angle on Aragorn, Legolas, and Gimli as they slowly ride towards the back of the plateau, past the ancient standing stones that leads to the narrow pass. Theoden and Gamling watch the retreating figures of Aragorn, Legolas, and Gimli. Rohan's soldiers emerge from their tents, crestfallen to see Aragorn leave. Aragorn, Legolas, and Gimli disappear into the shadows of the mountains. The Rohan soldiers murmur among themselves. What's happening? Where's he going?
Gambling.
Lord Aragorn!
why does he leave on the eve of battle?
Leaves because there is no hope.
Theoden goes on Theoden as he moves forward.
He leaves because he must.
Too few have come. We cannot defeat the armies of Mordor.
No, we cannot. But we'll meet them in battle nonetheless.
Exterior Theoden's tent, then Harrow Plateau, dawn. Theoden looks at Eowyn, who stands as if turned to stone. She is looking up at the lightening sky, quiet before the men depart for war.
I have left instruction. The people are to follow your rule in my stead. Take up my seat in the Golden Hall. Long may you defend Edoras if the battle goes ill.
Eowyn turns to the king, her face a blank. She speaks without emotion.
What are the duties you have me do, my lord?
Theoden moves towards her, taking up her hand.
Duty? No, I would have you smile again. Not grieve for those whose time has come.
Eowyn slowly lifts her head.
You shall live to see these days renewed.
Theoden lifts Eowyn's faces to look into her eyes.
No more despair.
Emerald rolled day. Aragorn, Legolas, and Gimli make their way up a gloomy canyon shadowed by black fir trees. The shadowed ridges of the Dwimmerberg Mountain rise before them. It is a spooky place.
Thank you. Good to know.
It's a spooky place.
It's spooky, very spooky.
Spooky, scary skeletons.
Just have them go past the screen. Anyway, what kind of army lingers in such a place?
I really should know this line better because it was in the start of the games, I think. On the GameCube.
Yeah, like I have no idea how he says that, but
One that is cursed. Long ago, the men of the mountain swore an oath to the last king of.
Keep it together, Jacko, damn it.
It was Ian that broke me, man. One that is cursed. Long ago, the men of the mountain swore an oath to the last king of Gondor to come to his aid, to fight. But when the time came, when Gondor's need was dire, they fled, vanishing into the darkness of the mountain, and so Isildur cursed them, never to rest until they had fulfilled their pledge. I think he whispers it. Yeah.
Silence surrounds them. There are no birds, no wind. Only the ominously muffled thud of their horses' hooves and the dank fir needles. Exterior, Dimholt Glen, day. Before them, at the root of the mountain, a sheer wall of rock towers.
the very warmth of my blood seems stolen away.
Within the walls, a creepy, dark door gapes like a mouth of night. Signs and figures are carved above its wide arch.
The way is shut. It was made by those who are dead, and the dead keep it. The way is shut.
At that moment, a chill wind seems to rush out of the doorway. Aragorn stares into the blackness, his hair blowing wildly. The horses rear back and buck in terror, turning and galloping away.
Rhaego!
The three horses disappear. Aragorn turns resolutely towards the doorway.
I do not fear death.
Aragorn walking into the blackness. Legolas quickly follows, swallowed by the darkness. Gimli left alone. He hesitates, struggling with his fear.
Well, that's a thing unheard of. An elf go underground when a dwarf does not? Oh, I'd never heard of any of it.
Gimli plunges into the tunnel behind the others. Dunharrow encampment, dawn. Much activity. Horns sound, the entire camp is on the move. Fires are doused, tents pulled down, horses saddled. Plateau. Theoden strides through the camp, Éomer at his side.
We must ride light and swift. It's a long road ahead, and man and beast must reach the end without the strength to fight.
Merry, preparing a little pony with a saddle and supplies. He is wearing an oversized helmet and Rohirrim clothing. He looks at once nervous and excited. King Theoden breaks away from a column and rides up to Merry.
Little hobbits do not belong in war, Mr. Meriadoc.
All my friends have gone to battle. I would be ashamed to be left behind.
It is a 3-day gallop to Minas Tirith. None of my riders can bear you as a burden.
But I want to fight.
I will say no more.
King Theoden wheels his horse away. Merry is bitterly disappointed. He stands, heads down, a tiny, dejected figure. Aww. As the mighty Rohirrim on their large horses ride by, a jangling sea of helmets, shields, and banners. Suddenly, Merry is plucked off the ground. A soldier has snatched him by the collar and plonked him down on their saddle. Merry twists around, looking up at the soldier. Beneath a helmet and mailed hood is Éowyn, disguised as a man.
Dun dun dun.
Ride with me.
My lady.
Yeah.
Merry's face is visible under the cape, looking excited.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry. Move out! Move out!
Right now for Gondor!
Dunharrow Valley. The valley floor as thousands of horsemen ride out after their king.
Oh, the King of Dead now, by the way. So, shouldn't be Chris
Oh yeah,
anymore.
he's coming up in a little bit.
Come back.
Tom, yeah, I just took over for you when you AFK, so
Okay.
hook us back up with your storytelling.
The whole baby.
Yeah. Exterior, Dunharrow Valley. The valley floor, high wide. The valley
Thank you,
floor,
thank you.
as thousands of horsemen ride out after their king. Exterior, Pelennor Fields, Minas Tirith Day. Anglon, great siege towers and catapults are rolling across the Pelennor Fields. Thousands of flaming torches light the snarling, slattering Morgul orcs, marching in ragged ranks. Flowing torrents of orcs stream past cave trolls, beating the drums of war. Minas Tirith lies ahead, only 2 miles away. Interior, Paths of the Dead Cavern. Aragorn leads Legolas and Gimli into a wide cavern. He waves his torch through the darkness, illuminating a huge cavern. A ghastly crackling noise, like stone being sundered, cuts through the silence. A ghostly figure steps from the rock walls. Aragorn, Legolas, and Gimli look on in horror as a mummified spectre looms before them. Eyeless sockets, rotten teeth, a pale, sickly glow. The King of the Dead. Fog swirls around as the ghost snarls at Aragorn.
Who enters my domain?
Aragorn moves forward, unflinching.
One who will have your allegiance.
The dead do not suffer the living to pass.
You will suffer me!
The King of the Dead. The fog suddenly rolls back, forming a retreating wall of grey vapor. Slowly, rank upon rank of spectral warriors are revealed. Ghoulish faces, rusting weapons, tattered banners. The fog reveals a dead army of many thousands, assembled around the cavern. Aragorn stares grimly at the King of the Dead. The King of the Dead, as he smiles evilly at Aragorn, lowers his gaze.
The way is shut.
The King of the Dead moves relentlessly towards Aragorn.
It was made by those who are dead, and the dead keep it.
Aragorn, Legolas, and Gimli are now surrounded by an army of the dead.
The way is shut. Now you must die.
Legolas fires an arrow at the King of the Dead. It passes straight through. Aragorn keeps moving forward, his eyes locked on the spectre.
I summon you to fulfill your oath!
The King of the Dead snarls and raises his deadly sword above Aragorn's head.
None but the King of Gondor may command me.
Aragorn raises Anduril. With a terrifying shriek, the King of the Dead sweeps his sword towards Aragorn's head. Slow motion, Aragorn raises his sword in answer, a low whistle as it sweeps through the air. Clang! The blade of Anduril clashes with the spectral sword. The sharp ring of metal reverberates through the caverns. Close on. The King of the Dead stares at Aragorn in disbelief.
It cannot be! That line was broken!
Aragorn grabs the shocked ghost by the neck. Aragorn holds the sharp blade against the ghost's throat.
It has been remade.
Silence. Aragorn releases the King of the Dead. He addresses the ghost army.
Fight for us and regain your honor!
Ghostly faces stare hollow-eyed at Aragorn.
What say you? What say you?
Wait. Oh, Gimli. You're wasting your time, Aragorn. They have no honor in life. They have none in death.
I am Isildur's heir. Fight for me and I will hold your oath fulfilled. What say you?
Exterior, Pelennor Fields, Minas Tirith Day. Exon, thousands of orcs continue moving relentlessly
I don't know what they
forward
said.
towards the walls of Minas Tirith. Minas Tirith Gates Day. A guard yells down from the parapet above the huge wooden gate.
Open the gate! Quick!
The huge gate swings open, revealing Faramir's badly wounded horse, dragging Faramir behind. Both the horse and Faramir are impaled with orc arrows.
Lord Faramir!
Jesus. As catapults are prepared, Gothmog rides through the ranks of orcs. Yolas and other soldiers arrive at the citadel with Faramir's unconscious body on a stretcher. Pippin follows them. Denethor emerges from the tower hall towards his son.
Should I
I feel like
take
someone else
over?
should take
Yeah,
over the narration
I
from
can
this
do it.
point onwards.
Take it, I guess. Or Chris.
Pam is
I
dead.
see
You
Pippin. Gandalf's coming up in a little bit, but I can go for now. There's like a little bit
Okay.
of Gandalf coming up.
Sure.
No, it's just my 10 line list.
Did we just do Gothmog turns towards his lieutenants? Is that what we were?
No, it's we also
Faramir,
Faramir.
okay. Yeah. Denethor emerged from the tower hall. He runs towards his son.
Faramir!
Denethor bends to the stretcher bearing his son.
Say not that he has fallen.
They were outnumbered. None survived.
Pippin, devastated. Pelennor feels. Gothmog turns to his lieutenants.
Fear. The city's rank with it.
It's the right voice, just the accent. Like,
It's like, fear. The city is rank with it.
Just imagine you're spitting at every word.
It's very guttural and throaty.
Yeah.
What? But it's not deep.
Your shit
Right,
is
I want to do
requisite.
catapult. Someone else will do this line.
Okay.
I'm gonna say catapult.
Can I do it?
Hey, go on, Jack. Go on. I'm reading the line.
Fear. The city is rank with it.
Yeah, it's much more.
Let us ease their pain. Release the prisoners.
Catapults!
Orders the great catapult
No.
fire. Flat.
I want to be that guy. I want to be that guy. The catapult.
The orc catapults do not fire rocks. Horror sweeps through the streets of Minas Tirith as the severed heads of Faramir's horsemen land amongst the soldiers. Nearest to the earth, course of the kings. Denethor looks down at Faramir's unconscious body.
My son is dead. My line is ended.
Pippin has run to Faramir and bends towards him.
he's alive.
The House of Stewards has failed.
Are you fucking deaf?
He needs medicine, my lord.
My line has ended.
My lord!
Denethor
No
slowly
protection!
turning away, walking as if in a trance.
3 ones in a row.
Denethor has reached the edge of the courtyard. He stares in shocked disbelief at the vista spread out below. A full view of the Orc army from the top of Minas Tirith. 75,000 orcs are spread out across the Pelennor fields like a sea of black ants. Trolls load the catapults with rocks. Battering rams and siege towers are hauled on chains. Thousands of flickering torches give the army the look of a moving city in the murky Mordor twilight. Denethor, struggling to regain the power of speech.
Rohan has deserted us.
A huge boulder smashes into the wall of Minas Tirith. Boulders hurtle from catapults across the fields towards Minas Tirith.
Theoden's betrayed me.
A boulder smashes into a balcony full of civilians. Confusion and panic spreads amongst the soldiers.
Abandon your boasts!
Pippin, shocked.
Flee! Flee for your lives!
Suddenly, thwack! Gandalf's staff smashes into the back of Denethor's head. Gandalf grimly swings his staff again, clubbing Denethor to the ground.
Licky claw.
Someone else want to take over at this
Yeah,
point?
sure.
There's a bit of
Gandalf
there's a fair
spins
bit.
around and
I can
addresses
go,
the
so I
soldiers.
Yeah. I think you're
Okay,
good.
continue doing Gothmog.
Ah.
Angwan, Gandalf, spins around and addresses the soldiers.
Prepare for battle!
Interior of Minas Tirith streets today. Gandalf gallops down the winding labyrinthine streets on Shadowfax, against the flow of fleeing soldiers.
Return to your posts!
Exterior to battlements. Shadowfax bounds upstairs onto the level 1 battlements. Gandalf looks at the approaching orc army, now less than 50 yards from the walls of the city.
Send these foul beasts into the abyss!
Quick cuts, mighty wooden catapults positioned within the walls of Minas Tirith are fired. In the exterior, frat, frat, frat! Catapults send their great rocks high into the air, over the battlements. Dizzying aerial shots of huge boulders flying up close to the camera, then falling away towards the orcs. Crunch! Boulders flatten orcs. Swat! 100 more rocks. Swat! Another 100! The orc front ranks are in disarray. Almost. What is
Wow.
this?
A lot of rocks.
Good luck.
Exterior to Pelennor fields. As the great boulders land amongst them, the orcs start to panic.
Stay where you are.
Exterior to battlements. Gandalf walks with the battlements as the huge boulders rain onto the orc army below. In the Pelennor fields, Gothmog glances up at a whistling sound. A huge boulder hurtles toward him. He sidesteps calmly out the way, spitting on the boulder in contempt. Exterior battlements. Suddenly, 9 Nazgul dive out of the dim sky, clad in battle armor. Angles on, soldiers throw themselves down as the Nazgul zoom overhead, emitting their piercing screams. Okay, Gondorian soldiers run for shout in panic, covering their ears. I was having a little louder, but okay. Close up,
That's from in the
towering.
distance, you know.
Stand to your posts! Do not give in to fear! Fight!
Cut to mighty wooden catapults positioned within the walls of Minisif are fired once more. The Nazgul circle low over the city, like vultures seeking a doomed men's flesh. Soldiers are plucked into the air by a shrieking Nazgul and dropped to the depths hundreds of feet below. Towers and buildings are destroyed. Chaos as soldiers, women and children dodge falling masonry. Close up, Gondorian soldiers send a rain of arrows at the approaching towers and trolls.
Not at the towers! Aim for the trolls! Kill the trolls! Bring them down!
Too late! The towers reach the walls, their doors crashing down, releasing orcs directly onto the lower levels. As the orcs swarm from the tower, Gandalf realizes Pippin has come down from the citadel.
Peregrine Took! Go back to the citadel!
They called us out to fight.
Pippin looks on stunned. As a huge orc leaps towards him, Gandalf intercepts the beast, striking him with his staff.
This is no place for a hobbit!
Gandalf wields his staff, cutting through the attacking orc with ease. Behind him, an orc prepares to cut down Gandalf. Pippin instinctively slashes his sword at him. And when Gandalf turns on Pippin, smiling despite himself.
Guard of the citadel indeed. Now, back up the hill. Quickly! Quick!
Pelennor fields at dusk. Out of black swirling battle, smoke crawls an iron monster. A massive wheeled battering ram.
Grant!
Oh, yeah, we
60
should
feet
all do
high
grunt.
and 150 feet long, pushed by
It's
20
coming, you're right.
huge
Yeah, it's
mountain
coming on.
trolls. A massive iron head, cast in the likeness of a snarling wolf. This is Grond, the battering ram from hell! Orcs are chanting as the beasts wheel closer and closer to the gates.
Grant!
Grond!
Grond!
Grunt!
Oh, that's a good scene. Oh, that gives me goosebumps. That really does.
Gandalf blanching at the sight of this crawling iron monster. But back at the Sirf Ungol Towers, someone else must narrate. No, yeah, someone else do it.
Okay.
No, you got no sound.
Yeah, you
Yeah,
are.
there's no sound for that.
You've been sent away.
Bullshit, I want to be here. Exterior path from Sirf Ungol at the tunnel during the day. Gandalf leads Frodo up a long ravine between columns of torn and weathered rock. Ahead is a great grey wall, a last huge mass of mountain stone, and in the shadows at the base of the towering rock lies a tunnel. Frodo reacts to the foul stench coming out of the black hole.
What is this place?
Master must go inside the tunnel.
Now that I'm here, I don't think
Yes,
I
sir.
want to.
Sorry. Close up. Smeagol sensing his plan unraveling. Everything depends on Frodo going inside the tunnel.
It's the only way. Go in or go back.
Frodo stares into the darkness.
I can't go back.
Close up. Gollum, his sparse, oily hair hanging like rank weed over his hooded eyes. Beautiful, Tom, beautiful impression. Drawing a deep breath, Frodo follows Gollum into the tunnel. Interior Shield's tunnel in the day. Frodo nearly gags.
Oh, what's that smell?
Orcs is filth. Orcs is coming here sometimes.
They continue on, deep into the dark tunnel. Frodo is feeling his way in the dark, following the sound of Gollum scampering.
Harry!
Frodo follows the sound of Gollum's voice. He is very tired.
This way!
Frodo cannot see Gollum in the murky tunnel.
Smeagol?
Over here!
Frodo slips as he tries to follow the voice. He puts his hand to the wall to steady himself, but quickly yanks it away. Strands of a white thread stuck to his hand.
It's sticky. What is it?
You don't want to know.
Gollum is nowhere to be seen. Orcs come in sometimes. Only his voice echoes back down the labyrinth of tunnels.
You will see! Oh, yes, you will see!
Frodo freezes!
Smeagol! Smeagol!
No answer. No echo. Not even a tremor in the air.
Smeagol!
Frodo realized with horror that Gollum has deserted him.
It's me.
I think you're actually whispering
It's
Sam.
supposed to be Sam.
I think it's
Yeah.
gonna be
Oh.
Sam.
Oh, yeah.
He has hidden away.
That makes more sense.
The,
Sam.
Sma.
Okay, Sam.
Smaug.
Close up. Frodo breathing hard, passing all manner of creatures, trussed up in evil web-like material. Can't be web. Too big. A bubbling hiss can be heard. There is a creaking as some great jointed thing moves with slow purpose in the dark. Frodo begins to run in blind panic. Sam stumbles
You don't actually
blindly
have
down the
anyone,
ancient stairs, reckless and uncaring, his face pale and devastated. Close up, Sam first slips. Suddenly, as if the ground is giving way beneath him, Sam is slipping and sliding, dangerously out of control. Sam sliding into a large rock which saves him from tumbling headlong over the precipice. Something catches Sam's eye. He stares, barely breathing. Close up on a package of lembas bread. Angle with Sam looking back up the long, steep stair. I just can't down. Fucking. Somebody else can do it here. I've done it for a while. Somebody else.
I gotta
Yeah, you're good at it.
I have a whole line here.
Should I do it or someone else?
Go for it.
Okay. Shelob's tunnel. Oh, spoilers. Frodo is running blindly. He falls, trapped in the sticky substance that clings to him. I like how they spoil it's Shelob, but not the fact that it's webs.
Sticky substance.
As he lay on the ground, unable to move, a voice comes to him as if from this memory.
I give you the light of Arendil, our most beloved star. May it be a light for you in dark places, when all other lights go out.
Clothes on Frodo fumbles as Frodo fumbles in his jacket. Fear growing in him as he pulls out a glass vial, his gift from Galadriel. He holds it aloft.
Randil, Elion, and Kalima!
The vial flickers, kindles into a silvery flame, a bright, radiant starlight. Low angle, the light instantly reveals a huge, loathsome spider towering over Frodo. Close on a shield, the spider hisses at the light. Two great clusters of many windowed eyes protrude from her bulbous head. Her legs are bent, with 12-foot span and hairs that stick out like steel spines. Her huge, swollen body, a vast, bloated bag, sways and sags between her legs. Her age-old back hide is knobbly and pitted, bloated with livid marks, but her belly underneath is pale and luminous. Shelob beats the air with her forelegs, calling upon his remaining strength and resolution. Frodo forces his legs to move. He backs away, keeping his eyes on Shelob. Shelob crawls slowly towards him, and then, with a sudden, hideous speed, she attacks. She lashes out with her front legs. Frodo is flung back. The glass vial clatters to the tunnel floor, casting an eerie low light. Shelob squats above Frodo, her eye clusters fidgeting with hideous delight, gloating over a prey trapped beyond all hope of escape. Suddenly, Frodo draws Sting. He slashes wildly at the giant spider, hewing off the tip of the leg. Shelob spasms, a wild blur of thrashing legs. Frodo leaps to his feet and runs, not even pausing to pick up the vial of light. Tracking back with Frodo as he careers blindly down the narrow tunnels, gasping in the choking air, looking back over his shoulder from any sign of Shelob. Frodo sees the tunnel exit ahead, just as he runs straight into a great cobweb. Frodo, eyes wild with fear, as he tries to wrench Sting free from the sticky web.
Tom, you're muted.
I don't actually know how the melody goes, but
Nothing little fly
How's it?
Cry.
Caught in a web. Soon you'll be eaten.
Frodo, as he slashes wildly with Sting, the shining blade of Sting as he hacks through fibrous strands. They whip and snap back into Frodo's face as he cuts himself free. Angles back to the tunnel, lit by the light of Galadriel's. Shelob's heaving shadow approaches. Closer on, Gollum watches in the mountain disbelief as Sting slashes through the web. Disbelief turns into fear as Shelob's closer and closer. Gollum quickly turns and bolts. Frodo hacks at the web and with a last desperate lunge frees himself. Sting is caught in the web. Frodo leaves the sword and throws himself through a narrow crevice. Pass of Serif Ungol Day. Frodo stumbles out of Shelob's lair, tumbling onto cold rock. Frodo covered in cobwebs, wild-eyed, drenched in sweat. He looks up as Gollum lunges at him.
Got away, did it, precious? Not this time! Not this time!
Gollum and Frodo fight, rolling on the ground towards the edge of the precipice. Frodo pins Gollum on the ground, hands around his throat.
It wasn't us! It wasn't us! Smeagol wouldn't hurt, Master!
Roll deception. Frodo's fingers squeeze tight around
Shall we
Gollum's
fun
throat.
ad-lib if Frodo just believes him again? Oh.
Smeagol promised! You must believe us! It was the precious faith. Let's do it!
Frodo has a sudden moment of self-realization as he releases Gollum, horrified at the violence. Gollum covering back, coughing and splurting. Splurting?
Spluttering, I guess.
Yeah, splurting. Yes, it seems so weird. Anyway, Frodo looking at Smeagol in shock, he gets to his feet.
I have to destroy it, Smeagol. I have to destroy it for both our sakes.
Smeagol stares at Frodo in disbelief. In a fury, he lunges at Frodo, who falls backwards, dangerously close to the edge of the precipice. Why is it so hard? Precipice. Gollum tumbles over Frodo's body and falls to the bottom of the ravine. He kind of fucks himself. Anyway.
Yeah.
Pass of Serif Ungol night. Couple of hours there. Frodo, overcome with exhaustion, stumbles down the steps, steep stairs of Serif Ungol. He is full of remorse at his treatment of Sam.
I'm so sorry, Sam.
Oh yeah, you should be.
Frodo falls to his knees.
I'm so sorry.
Frodo's dream, Lothlorien. Frodo lands on soft green grass. A sun-drenched image of trees, of fields, of Lothlorien. Hazy image, Galadriel walks towards him, barefooted on the grass.
This task was appointed to you, Frodo of the Shire. If you do not find a way, no one will.
Galadriel leads down towards Frodo, offering her hand for a beach. Frodo stares at her, torn, not wanting to go, wanting to lie down, but he knows what he must do. Angle on Frodo as he lifted his feet. Frodo once again in the dark, rank tunnels of the past Serif Ungol. He goes on. Minas Tirith Street, night. Angle on flaming missiles rain down on the city. A deep boom, grund thuds against Minas Tirith's gate, sending a vibration running through the city. A Gandalf on Shadowfax leads several hundred Gondorian soldiers down the street.
To the gates! Man the gates!
Minas Tirith Court of the Kings, night. Pippin watches as Faramir. Do I say anything? No. Pippin watches as Faramir's unconscious body is carried on a stretcher by Denethor's servants, led by Denethor. It has the atmosphere of a funeral.
If you're,
In Minas Tirith.
I can take over. I don't have anything for a long time. But...
Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
Okay. Ministry Steward's tomb. Angelon, an iron door creaks open. Farimir's procession enters a wide vaulted chamber. The lantern light throws great shadows upon the shrouded walls of a white vaulted chamber. Row upon row of marble tombs are visible in the dim light. Upon each tomb lies a sleeping form, carved in stone, hands folded. Denethor speaks in a hushed voice.
No tomb for Denethor and Faramir. No long slow sleep of death embalmed. We shall burn like the hidden kings of old.
The servants place Farimir's unconscious body on a stone table in the center of the chamber. They stand, heads bowed, as mourners beside a bed of death. Denethor turns to his servants.
Bring wood and oil.
The exteriors of Ministry's gates. Boom! The gate splinters upon Gron's mighty weight. Behind the gates, the Gondorian foot soldiers are fearful. Gandalf rallies the lines of bowmen as they wait in front of the great doors, their courage wavering with each crashing blow. Gandalf.
Steady! Steady!
Suddenly the fearsome head protrudes into the Ministryth.
You are soldiers of Gondor. No matter what comes through that gate, you will stand your ground.
Within moments, the gate is smashed and giant cave trolls enter into the first circle of Ministryth under the archway that no enemy had ever passed.
Fire!
Rows of archers fire off a volley of arrows, but the trolls continue to smash the foot soldiers with their giant clubs. Orcs swarm through the opening, and a pitched hand-to-hand battle spills into flames and blackened, smoldering buildings through the streets of Ministryth. Angelon, with a roar, Gandalf leads a counterattack on Shadowfax, followed by several hundred Gondorian foot soldiers. Thousands of orcs swarm in through the city gates. The first level is breached. The Pass of Cirith Ungol. Angelon Frodo is staggering through the Pass of Cirith Ungol, the weight of the ring dragging at his neck. He moves forward, fueled by a grim resolve. Frodo starts climbing on a stone staircase that climbs through a narrow pass. Tall peaks rise on either side, like pillars holding up a sagging sky. Ahead is the summit of Cirith Ungol and an orc watchtower. A faint light glows from within the stone tower. The path over the summit is in full view of the orcs. Frodo stays close to the rock wall, masked by shadows. Behind Frodo, Shelob appears. With hideous stealth, she follows Frodo. Frodo slowly climbing the stone stairs, his gaze and concentration on the orc tower. Behind him, Shelob lurches into an horrible scuttle down the sheer rock face. Frodo suddenly senses the lurking malice. He spins around, but before he can react, Shelob viciously stabs Frodo in the neck. It's in the stomach, right? With her monstrous abdominal stinger. Frodo
I think it's like here or something. Like
It's like, yeah.
yeah.
Frodo instantly goes limp. Shelob's legs catch him as he... around him.
As he falls.
As he falls, he quickly starts weaving cobwebs around him. With great dexterity, she tumbles the little hobbit over and over in her legs, binding him in web from head to toe. Suddenly, the razor-sharp edge of a sword comes into shot. Samwise Gamgee stands before the giant spider, sting clutched in one hand, the shining file in the other.
Let him go, you filth!
Shelob hisses at Sam. Dropping Frodo, he rolls down the stairs in his web cocoon.
You won't touch him again!
Sam moves forward, a fell light in his normally friendly eyes.
Come on and finish it!
Sam swings his small sword, slashing upwards. Angelon Shelob hisses and she rears above Sam, her stinger dribbling with venom. Sam ducks inside the arch of her legs and stabs Sting into one of her eye clusters. Shelob screams, her mandibles thrashing wildly, green ooze trickling from her wounded eye. With hind legs, Shelob picks Sam off the ground and tosses him backwards. Sam lands heavily, and Shelob pounces. Shelob heaves the great bag of her belly high above Sam's head. As she splays her legs to drive her huge bulk down on him, Sam lifts the elven blade above his head, holding it with two hands. Sting slides into Shelob's soft underbelly. A shudder runs through her. Heaving up, again she wrenches herself from the pain, her limbs writhing beneath her. Jerking and quivering, Shelob crawls to her hole, leaving a trail of green-yellow slime. She squeezes down the hole and disappears. The sound of her bubbling misery fades. Sam races to Frodo.
Mr. Frodo!
Sam rips the cobwebs away from Frodo's head. His face is deathly pale.
Oh no, Frodo!
Frodo's pale, lifeless face.
Mr. Frodo, wake up!
Frodo's head lolls lifelessly in Sam's arms.
Wake up. Don't leave me here alone. Don't worry, I can't follow. Wake up!
Frodo staring, but unmoving.
Not asleep. Dead.
Sam lays his face on Frodo's chest, weeping softly. Wait, we're gonna have some orcs. I'm gonna assign Gorbak to Potrek and Shagrath to Chris.
Nice.
Lucky guy, got Shagra.
Soundtrack's tramping feet approach, clinking metal, harsh shouts. Sam looks up, looks back down on Frodo. Sam looks up at the orc tower and then at Sting, which is glowing blue. Orcs approach. Sam must make a decision. A small party of orcs and Uruk-hai heading down the stairs from the watchtower. Shagrat leads down the Uruk-hai and Gorbak leads the orcs. Gorbak spies Frodo's body.
What's this? Looks like old Shelop's having a bit of fun.
Killed another one, has she?
Gorbak peers curiously at Frodo as he leans down and pokes at Frodo's lifeless body.
No, this fella ain't dead.
Sam hidden in a rock crevice. A shock sweeps across his face.
Not dead.
She yaps them with her stinger. They go limp as a boned fish. Then she has her way with them. That's how she likes to feed. Fresh blood. Get him to the tower.
Samwise, you fool.
The orcs grunt as they lift Frodo and carry him back towards the watchtower.
This fellow will be awake in a few hours.
Then he'll wish he's never been born.
The orcs laugh as Frodo is carried up on steep stairs. That's for Pippin. Okay, sure. From the shadows, Pippin watches aghast as Faramir is laying on a funeral pyre. Denethor kisses Faramir's sweating, fevered brow.
The house of his spirit crumbles. He is burning, already burning.
Bundles of dried firewood are being stacked around Faramir's body. Pippin rushes forward, desperately pulling the firewood away.
He's not dead! He's not dead!
Denethor grabs Pippin by the collar. He roughly carries him towards the door.
No, he's not dead, no!
Farewell, Peregrine, son of Paladin. I release you from my service.
Denethor throws Pippin outside.
Go now and die in what way seems best to you.
Imagine calling a halfling paladin. Like, imagine rolling a halfling paladin. You know, like
You can play some
That
good
is-
decks of Halfling Paladins in 5e, you know.
maybe.
It's not a commitment to the RP, I guess. Denethor slams the door shut.
Pour oil on the wood.
Ministry streets at night. Pippin races down the steep streets, passing soldiers running back from the burning city. Great balls of fire are hurling through the air. The city is in chaos.
Gandalf! Gandalf!
Amidst the fleeing soldiers,
Pull back to the second level. Hurry! Get the women and children out of here. Get them out.
Pippin desperately pushes against the tide of soldiers retreating from the fighting. Gothmog turns to his second lieutenant in the Pelennor fields. Oh, that's me.
Move into the city. Kill all in your path.
Minas Tirith streets. As orcs run through the streets, men, women, and children flee. The pitched battle continues.
There's a lot of Theoden and Gothmog here, so... Oh, this fucking speech coming up, man.
I can talk.
Yeah.
No, not the speech. Not the speech.
Anyway, meanwhile, fight for your lives.
Suddenly, in the midst of the battle, Gandalf turns. True and clear come the sounds of distant horns. Off the side of Mount Mildulin, they dimly echo, war horns of the west. Rohan has come. In the exterior of Pelennor Fields and dawn, Gothmog turns to the sound of the distant horns. Oh my god, 6,000 horsemen, led by Theoden and Aemma, step up to the skyline. Minas Tirith lies less than a mile away, down a gentle slope. Over 50,000 orcs are swarming around the base of the city. Thick black smoke belches from within it. Close on, Mary blanches with fear. Eowyn puts a comforting hand on his shoulder.
Courage, Mary. Courage for our friends.
On the battlefield, Gothmog walks among his troops.
Form ranks, you maggots! Form ranks! Pikes in front, lances behind!
The orcs
Whoa, what?
prepare
He said,
for battle.
I always thought he said archers.
Yeah, I always
Yeah.
heard archers behind.
Yeah, I thought it was archers.
And it pans to pictures of archers.
Could
Like,
just be like a bad transliteration.
Bikes in front, archers behind.
The orcs prepare for battle. Angor and Círdan gallops in front of his army, issuing urgent orders to his captains.
Well, I'm imagining the music is gonna do the most of the legwork.
He'll be edited in. Yeah.
Aimer, take your area down the left flank. Gambling, follow the king's banner down the center. Grimbold, take your company right after you pass the wall. Forth, and fear no darkness.
Círdan rides to the front of his army. He rises in his stirrups, tall and proud, yelling in a clear, loud voice.
Arise, arise, riders of Theoden. Spears shall be shaken, shields shall be splintered. A sword day, a red day, ere the sun rises.
A ray of sunlight escapes through the black clouds, bathing Rohirrim in golden light. Weapons and armor gleams, as 6,000 horsemen hold their spears aloft. Below, on Pelennor fields, the Orc and Eorn raise their lances in readiness. Eowyn, her armor are merry before her.
whatever happens, stay with me. I'll look after you.
Merry looks on in shock. As Círdan rides past the ranks of soldiers, he runs his lance across the spears. Their noise echoes through the ranks as the weapons of the riders clatter in response.
Right now, right now, ride, ride for ruin and the world's ending.
Círdan faces his enemy.
Death,
Death!
death, death.
He is swept up in emotion. He whips out his little sword.
Death! Forth, Erlingus!
All the horns of Rohirrim burst past
Oh, I'm gonna tear.
The 6,000 Rohirrim move off. A great wall of horses and spear points, building up to a gallop like a rising tide as they charge towards the 50,000 orcs. Merry, wind blowing in his hair, Eowyn's armor around his chest as he yells at the top of his lungs. Angor and Gothmog are marshalling his troops.
Fire!
The first volley of arrows hits the Rohan soldiers. The charge continues.
Charge!
The second volley, Gothmog watches in horrified awe as the Rohan advance continues. Sudden fear runs through the Orc and Uruk-hai assembled on Pelennor Field. The Rohan charge like men possessed. Angor, the roar of Rohirrim, horses and spears is seemingly unstoppable. Entire Orc companies vanish under their hooves like sand beneath a foaming breaker as they race towards the main body of the Orc army. Orc archers fire into the sundering Rohirrim. Orc spears lower. Then suddenly the Rohirrim crash into the Orcs and the screen is filled with
Fire at will!
slashing swords and clashing shields. A jaw-dropping sight. In the
The script knows that this is like epic.
Oh my god, it's
There's
fucking
a bit of editorial commentary there. Like, man, it's so sick.
The streets at dawn. Pippin rushes towards Gandalf, dodging flaming debris.
Gandalf!
Gandalf wheels around on Shadowfax.
Denethor has lost his mind! He's burning Faramir alive!
Gandalf pulls Pippin on the Shadowfax.
Come, quickly.
In the fields at dawn, the Rohan charge are decimating the enemy. Inside the tomb at dawn, a low-angle shot of Denethor standing on the table astride Faramir, pouring oil over his own head. It runs through his hair and down his face, quickly soaking his robes. Close up, Faramir, his eyes flicker open. As he tries to focus through his delirium, oil splashes onto his chest and face.
Set the fire in our flesh.
Bundles of oil-soaked wood are stacked all around them. Servants are holding flaming torches, awaiting their orders. Denethor nods to them. The servants approach the pyre, torches held firmly. At that moment, Gandalf and Pippin burst into the Hallows, astride Shadowfax.
Stay this madness.
The fearful servants back away from the pyre. Close up, with a roar! With a roar!
Planet.
Denethor snatches a flaming torch and holds it at the fire. Whoosh! The fire ignites. Angle 1 and Gandalf gallops towards the pyre, knocking Denethor to his feet. Pippin leaps from Shadowfax onto the burning pyre. With a desperate strength, Pippin pushes Faramir off the burning pyre. They tumble down the bundles of wood onto the floor. Pippin dousing flames on Faramir's clothing. Denethor screams with rage.
No! Do not take my son from me!
Denethor leaps across the pyre, ripping and tugging at Pippin. Fire quickly spreads on Denethor's oil-soaked back as he holds Pippin off Faramir. Shadowfax rears up and strikes at Denethor. Denethor, who falls back onto the pyre. Close on Denethor, he looks into his son's eyes. For a brief moment, sanity returns.
Faramir?
Flames begin to engulf Denethor. Gandalf pulls Pippin to safety. They look in horror as, suddenly, Denethor lurches off the pyre. Now a screaming, unguided ball of flame, he runs across the chamber, disappearing out the door.
Dude, it's my new favourite G replaced with a C.
Gandalf.
So passes Denethor, son of Ecthelion.
Several minutes after in the day. Denethor runs across the white court atop Minas Tirith and plummets straight over the 700-foot sheer drop into the flaming city.
Man, it was 1,000 feet earlier. What is this?
That's
No,
right,
but
man.
like,
He
there's
doesn't go to
7,000
his
feet
spot.
down to the city. If you go all the way to ground level, it would be 1,000 feet.
Maybe.
Exterior of Pelennor during the day. Denethor's death plunged to Rohirrim gaining... No. Pan off Denethor's death plunged to the Rohirrim gaining the upper hand. Vast numbers of orcs are slain or are fleeing.
Drive them into the river!
Theoden stands proud in his saddle, yelling to his Rohirrim.
Make safe the city!
As upon Theoden, his look of joy turns to horror. Across the vast of battle come 20 Mumakil! Massive elephant-like creatures, each carrying a war tower packed with Haradrim archers.
I'm sure it's in the soundtrack as well.
Anger 1, Rohirrim riders panicking. Theoden on his horse, circling amongst them.
Reform the line! Reform the line!
The Rohirrim horses moving back into line.
Sound a charge! Charge!
Rohirrim riders charge towards the line of Mumakil. The Mumakil bellow as they are goaded into war, driven mercilessly by their brutal Haradrim masters. They lumber into the sea of men, crushing riders and horses beneath their massive feet. Their spiked tusks swinging wildly, sweeping and impaling riders. Haradrim archers are sending a rain of arrows into the panicking Rohirrim. Eowyn and Merry are thrown from their horse. Inside the city at dawn, the 6th level of the city, smoke rising around it, fires burning beneath it. At the 6th gate, a rabble of orcs are clustered outside the gate as trolls pound on its wooden doors with huge hammers. The wood splinters, the doors are near breaking point. Gandalf and Pippin sit on stone steps, both covered in sweat and grime, bone weary from fighting, spirit and heart bruised. Pippin looks towards the wooden gate, at which a number of soldiers continue to build a barricade.
I didn't think it would end this way.
Gandalf looks at the small hobbit a beat.
And? No, the journey doesn't end here.
Pippin looks up at Gandalf questioningly.
Death is just another path, one that we all must take.
Gandalf looks down to see Pippin looking up at him with fear in his eyes.
The grey curtain of this world rolls back, and all turns to silver glass. And then you see it.
Gandalf breaks off, lost in reverie.
What, Gandalf? See what?
White shores, and beyond, a far green country under a swift sunrise.
Pippin stares up at the old wizard's face, softened, quiet, and full of peace.
Well, that isn't so bad.
No. No, it isn't.
Boom! Angle on, Gandalf and Pippin's faces turn as the wooden doors shudder under another blow. I guess he just saw me right like that, yeah.
Either you or Tom, yeah.
Yeah.
No, Tom's Witch King, right?
Oh yeah, Tom's Witch King. Yeah. I
Oh,
guess,
Tommy is a
Have some stuff.
yeah, I guess. Exterior panel field today. Man, like, there's a lot of fireworks outside, which is good because it's a battle. Angle 1.
It's not
the
even New Year's
battlefield
yet.
is in chaos as Mumikil decimate the valiant Rohirrim. Close on. Seelin tries to rally his men amid the sea of crying men and neighing horses.
Rally to me! To me!
Suddenly, the Witch King swoops down on his Nazgul, scooping up Theoden and his horse.
Wait, on his Nazgul?
Yeah.
It's definitely should be on
on
a
his
Yeah, it should be
Felbeast,
Felbeast,
yeah.
it should be Felbeast, but they cartwheel into the air and land in a heap. The horse is dead. Theoden lies dying beneath it. Angle 1, yeah. Now, the Witch King swooping down on his Felbeast. The Felbeast lands on Theoden's dead horse.
Feast on his flesh.
The Felbeast opens its wicked jaws.
One soldier.
Oh, a Roman soldier stands before the beast. It is Eowyn.
I will kill you if you touch him.
Close up, the winged Witch King laughs.
Do not come between the Nazgul and his prey.
The Felbeast lifts Eowyn from her feet. Suddenly, with a mighty sword blow, the Felbeast's head is severed. It shouldn't be Eowyn, right?
Yeah, this A.
Yeah.
Eowyn gets lifted by
No.
the Felbeast.
Well, no, I don't know. It lunges for
No,
her and it
that
decides
is.
that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
With the Felbeast's head is severed, the huge creature crumbles to the ground, vast wings outstretched, sending the Witch King sprawling. The Witch King rises out of the wreckage, tall and threatening. But Eowyn stands for him, the Felbeast's blood dripping from her sword. With a shrill shriek of hatred. Witch King? Shrill shriek of hatred, please. He knocks Eowyn back
Shrill.
with his mace. Stunned, Eowyn tries to stand and is hit once again with another crippling blow. The Witch King laughs once again as he smashes his mace downwards.
Huh?
Laugh, please, Tom. Eowyn tries to block the blow, but her shield shatters into many pieces. The Witch King towers over Eowyn, raising his mace for the killing blow, but cut to the docks at day. An orc commander hurrying onto the Anduin River docks, close to the city. Large black shadows slide across the docks as sailing ships approach Os, Osgiliath. A sinister black sail ship glides into the docks. 9 other Corsair ships follow behind.
Who's the orc commander?
Close up, the orc commander.
Late, as usual. Get off your ships, you sea rats. There's knife work here needs doing.
Angor and Aragorn leaping from the leading ship and charging across the docks, roaring as the top of its lungs. Ah! Followed by Legolas and Gimli. Surprised orc reaction to the three charging towards Oh, shit.
Plenty for the both of us. May the best dwarf win.
Angor, the army of the dead, suddenly leap straight out of the sides of the ship. They charge across the surface of the water with frightening speed, overtaking Aragorn. The orcs scream at the sight of 5,000 spectral warriors.
That's bullshit.
Fucking
Hacksman?
the spectral warriors swarm into the flank of the orc army. With a raging bloodlust, the undead climb over the top of each other to try and reach the enemy, creating a kind of rolling mountain of ghouls that sweep all before them away. The orcs have no defense and their weapons cannot make contact with the orcs.
Ghosts.
Go side. Exterior the panel fields in the day. Angor and Merry on the
Magic
ground.
weapons.
He looks around to see the Witch King standing over Eowyn, pulling her to her feet.
Tom.
Fuck. No man can kill me. Die!
Angor and Merry driving his sword into the back of the Witch King's knee.
Yeah.
Merry's sword bursts into flames and his arm is shot with pain. Eowyn struggles to her feet, pulling off her helmet. Close up, Eowyn, her long hair tumbling onto her shoulders.
I am no man.
With her last strength, Eowyn thrusts the sword into the Witch King's face. Eowyn's sword shatters into many shards. The Witch King topples back dead, a black ooze leaking from his robes and armor. A shuddering cry, fading into a shrill wail, passes with the wind. Aragorn and Legolas battle the orcs. Legolas jumps on the one guy, both of them. Legolas jump onto the back of a giant Mumikil, bringing it down. He lands on his feet in front of Gimli.
That still only counts as one.
The Mimikyu reacts with terror, and spectral warriors climb up onto their sides, routing the Haradrim from their war towers. Orcs flee in their thousands, terrified Mimikyu trampling them in their panic to escape. The army of the dead swarming over the city, routing the orcs. Eowyn crawls where Theoden lays, mortally wounded. Theoden looks up at Eowyn, his breathing shallow, his vision clouded.
I know your face, Eowyn.
Eowyn smiles down at him as she gently strokes his face.
My eyes darken.
No. I'm going to save you.
You already did. My body is broken. You have to let me go.
No.
It's a sad moment, but the formatting of this line just.
It's very hard to format no, okay?
Theoden touches tear-stained face.
I go to my father's, in whose mighty company I shall not now feel ashamed.
Theoden is dying.
Eowyn.
Theoden dies. Eowyn breaks down, sobbing. All around is a vista of defeat. There's one line from Aragorn. That's it. Oh God, Aragorn's.
For such an important
I can do this a little bit more, and I guess then when we just haven't Photoshop it, so no again. Ride on. Pelennor fields are strangely silent. All orcs have fled. Balderbrian bodies stretch as far as the eye can see. Above Minas Tirith, blinding sun rays break through the low clouds. Angor, Gandalf, Legolas, Gimli, and Pippin watch as Aragorn walks slowly across the field of battle towards the hideous ghouls.
Release us.
Bad idea. Very handy in a tight spot. These lads, despite the fact that they're dead.
You gave us your word.
I hold your oath fulfilled. Go. Be at peace. Thank you. And go on. The army dead slowly dissolve into dust and are immediately swept away by the four winds. Aragorn turns to Gandalf, who bows his head in homage. Pippin, in his Gondorian armor, looks around at the devastation, his eyes full of sadness, and suddenly fixed on something. Angor and Pippin running through the ruin of the battle towards a small figure slumped on the ground. Pippin.
I said Barry!
No, I didn't pick it up. Mary? Mary stares, unseeing at Pippin, horror and shock erasing all other memories from Mary's mind.
Oh.
Tears fall down Pippin's face as he looks on his friend.
Barry, it's me. It's Pippin.
I knew you'd find me. Are you going to leave me?
No, Pippin. I'm gonna look after you. No, Mary, I mean. I'm gonna look after myself. But then you.
Angor and Pippin covers Mary with a blanket.
Why do you have a blanket with you, Pippin?
There are plenty lying around. It's like a big
Yeah,
dead
you
molecule
just
there.
Exterior. Exterior Tower of Sifangul at night. Camera rises towards a dark orc tower of Sifangul. A light glows from the topmost window. I thought this was the watchtower. It's not like the actual Sifangul, right? The tower.
No, it's just a tower.
Yeah.
Just a watchtower, yeah.
It's not the tower. Bullshit. The camera reaches the tower, dissolving through the wall into a small cold room.
Wait, it is the Tower of Sirithingul,
No, it's
right?
no, I don't think
Well,
so.
it is the orc tower of the
Sam
Sirithingul.
doesn't go to the top of Surf Ungul, right? I thought it was like earlier they tried the watchtower, but like there's the actual.
Because Sirithingul, but the Tower in Mordor is Dol Guldur, right? Like, that's the main tower.
That's a different. I think
Sirithingul
there's
is a
multiple.
watchtower, right?
I thought
Yeah.
Surf Ungul is the giant
that's
one
its
there, or
purpose.
at they see, right? I thought Surf Ungul was like the giant one.
Well,
at
Sirithingul,
the,
I thought it was just like the what was once like a city / watch place. I was not taken over.
It's pretty big.
in the film, it's the same. Yeah, I mean in the book, I see.
People fall off a long way, is all I'm saying. Like, it's pretty big.
It's pretty big in the movies, actually,
Yeah.
as well. Like, there's a courtyard and stuff. Like, it's a pretty. pretty big.
chunky.
Like the watchtower may not be the certain goal that's the same.
It
as
might
the
actually be like
Ascalon.
the watchtower
part of
might
the
be the
certain
watchtower in.
But
the tower.
earlier, okay, yeah, I think but earlier that was Minismogul, right? That, like, you see,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
climbing. Okay, I guess it is just okay. It's earlier they called it just the Watchtower, and I was like, oh, I saw something different, but I guess not. Anyway, sorry. Yeah, good. Gave it time for someone to come back. In a small, cold room, Frodo Baggins is unconscious on the floor. His eyes suddenly flicker, and he wakes up. Tilt up to reveal the Orc and Uruk-hai, Gorbag and Shagrat, arguing over Frodo's belongings and clothes. Gorbag is snatching for the mithril vest.
Hey, hands off that shiny shirt. That's mine.
Going to the Great Eye, along with everything else.
Angor and Frodo, as he realized that he had been stripped down to his underwear, he clutches at his throat. The ring is gone.
I don't take orders from stinking Morgul rats.
Gorbag grabs for the mithril vest.
You touch it, and I stick this blade in your guts.
Angor on Gorbag draws his sword, but Shagrat kicks him backwards with his foot. Gorbag falls through a trapdoor leading to the floor below. In the guard room at night, Angor on Gorbag lands in the guard room with a crash, creating sudden alarm amongst the Orcs and Uruk-hai stationed there. Shagrat leans through the trapdoor.
The scum tried to knife me. Kill him.
Fuck yeah.
Deception check.
Shagrat's got some good lines. Like,
Yeah, I thought about that one. Several Uruk-hai converge on Gorbag. He lashes out, slashing one across the throat with his sword. The dead Uruk-hai topple backwards over the parapet.
I think that shot there is what gives me the impression the tower is Surathon.
No, I think you're right. I think you're right. Yeah. I think I do go against it for minutes.
Yeah.
Like more would really.
Both towers and mortal, you know.
Yeah. Landing on top of Uruk-hai and Orcs in the courtyard below. Within moments, a brutal civil war breaks out between the two companies stationed in Surfungul. The path of Surfungul night. Okay, I'll read. Angor and Sam hurries towards the gate, fearful for Frodo, and then someone else should take over.
I don't see any more Shagrat. Shall I just do it?
Oh, okay, yeah.
Sam is confronted with the sight of over 50 slaughtered Orc and Uruk-hai strewn over the courtyard. Sam pounds up the staircase. He suddenly pauses. Several Uruk-hai are running down towards him. He grips Sting and continues charging up, screaming at the top of his lungs. 4 Uruks. They see a huge, distorted shadow on the wall in front of them. They turn around to flee in terror back to the top of the stairs. Sam appears, and before the Uruk-hai can fully regain their wits, he slays 3, yelling,
That's for Frodo! And for the Shire! And that's for my old gaffer!
Sam runs into the tower.
This casually slays 3 Uruk-hai, like casually in a row. This is pretty casual.
And in the movie, they definitely fully regain their wits. Like, there's a full, like, 3 or 4 seconds before...
Right? He just fucks them up.
He's picked up a few levels since the last time he saw Uruk-hai at the end of the fellowship.
That's true. A lot of hexes covered.
Frodo struggling against his bonds as Gorbag climbs back into the room with vengeance in his evil eyes.
Stop squealing, you dunghill rat.
Gorbag grabs Frodo's hair and pulls his head back, exposing his neck. He pulls out his sword, ready to cut Frodo's throat.
I'm gonna bleed you like a stuck pig.
Suddenly, Gorbag gasps as Sting is rammed into his back by Sam.
Not if I stick you first!
Gorbag falls dead.
Sam!
I never remembered his voice.
I think you would be pretty spot on his voice, like.
Yeah.
Oh,
I mean, I feel like what's different every time. It's
He had
It sounded how I remembered it.
close enough.
Sorry, Frodo, humbled by Sam's unswerving loyalty.
He should be pretty humbled.
Oh, Sam. I'm so sorry. Sorry for everything.
Sam quickly cuts Frodo free. It's like he's untied Frodo before.
Come on.
It's too late.
You can't cut good rope, Chris, in this situation.
It's too...
You can't, Jago.
He can't get the image out of his head
He
now.
just unties it scarily accurately, though. He does excellent spot work there, Sam.
It's been a long road, you know.
Elvis rope is nice and soft on the skin.
It's too late. It's over. They've taken it, Sam. They took the ring.
Begging your pardon, but they haven't.
Sam pulls the ring from his pocket.
I saw I'd lost you, so I took it. Only for safekeeping.
Frodo looks at Sam amazed. His eyes drop to the ring.
Give it to me.
Sam hesitates. Tension instantly builds between them.
Maybe does it.
Give me the ring, Sam.
Oh.
Sam seems strangely reluctant. On the soundtrack, the hum of the ring builds.
Sam, give me the ring.
Sam drops the ring into Frodo's palm. Frodo sags in relief. He puts the ring back around his neck.
You must understand. The ring is my burden. It will destroy you, Sam.
Frodo looks at Sam, pain in his eyes. Sam looks down at Frodo, his plain hobbit face full of compassion. Sam's resolve hardens. A new strength takes hold.
Come on, Mr. Frodo. We'd best find you some clothes. You can't go walking through Mordor and not but your skin.
Pass of Cirith Ungol. Night. Frodo and Sam are now dressed in foul-looking orc. I don't know, I thought it was kind of cool. Orc gear.
Like hawks.
Pretty uncomfortable though.
Frodo and Sam turn east and walk over the summit of Cirith Ungol into Mordor. Frodo and Sam. They stop dead, staring ahead.
Oh, okay. Phew.
Mount Doom, 50 miles away, across the barren Gorgoth
50 meters,
Plateau.
Chris, actually. 50 meters miles away.
50 million aisles away. Across the barren Gorgoth Plateau. Gorgoroth Plateau. The mountain is erupting streams of ash and lava high into the air, lighting the low cloud blanket of Mordor with a flickering orange wash. With immense trepidation, Frodo and Sam head down the steep path into the Dark Kingdom. Two tiny figures in a bleak, foreboding landscape. Before them lies the plain of Gorgoroth. Their eyes are drawn to the ominous silhouette of Mount Doom.
We did it, Mr. Frodo. We made it to Mordor.
Frodo's eyes travel down towards the hundreds of fires which glow on the plains beneath them. Thousands upon thousands of orcs are encamped there.
There are so many of them. So many. We'll never get through unseen.
Their eyes are drawn to a dark looming shape, Barad-dûr. A red light seems to sweep across the plain.
It's him. The Eye.
The great eye of Sauron. Sam cannot see what Frodo sees. Gently, he urges Frodo on.
We have to go in there, Mr. Frodo. There's nothing for it. Come on. Let's just make it down the hill for starters.
Gandalf coming up?
Yeah, someone else
Maybe Tom, I guess?
I'll take over again.
Tom Jones.
There's a bit of aim here, but like, yeah, you're fine.
I haven't spoken for a while, I think.
Go on, Tom.
But where was I scrolled a bit?
Okay,
there you go.
Great
Yeah.
Eye of Sauron.
Yeah.
Well, we did that, but Gandalf.
Yeah, close on. Gandalf stands in the tower hall, seemingly alone. He speaks quietly, doubt and fear edge his voice.
Frodo has passed beyond my sight. The darkness is deepening.
He turns and crosses the hall to reveal the presence of Gimli, Legolas, Eomer, and Aragorn. Aragorn, his back to Gandalf.
Dude, look, that was a legitimate Gimli first in the list of those names, and I enjoy it. I'm here for it.
You didn't even choose the system this
I like
time.
how the 5 people in the scene are also the 5 people we're voicing. I think
Yeah.
it's like the first time it's like, hey, these 5. Tom, say it again.
I'll have lines.
Give me my build up, Tom. Aragorn, his back to Gandalf. If Sauron had the ring, we would know it. Gandalf, still troubled, still worried.
It is only a matter of time. He has suffered a defeat, yes, but behind the walls of Mordor, our enemy is regrouping.
Gimli sits insolently on the seat of the steward.
Wow.
Let him stay there. Let him rot. Why should we care?
Gandalf looks across at the dwarf, his face ashen.
Because 10,000 orcs now stand between Frodo and Mount Doom. I have sent him to his death.
Aragorn turns around suddenly. No. Gandalf looks up sharply at Aragorn. There is still hope for Frodo. He needs time and safe passage across the plains of Gorgoroth. We can give him that.
How?
Draw out Sauron's armies, empty his lands. Then we gather our full strength and march on the Black Gate.
At this, Gimli chokes on his pipe. Eomer steps forward. We cannot achieve victory from strength of arms.
Not for ourselves, but we can give Frodo his chance if we keep Sauron's eye fixed upon us. Keep him blind to all else that moves.
A diversion!
Thanks, Nicholas. You do know Goblin.
Gandalf speaks in a lone tone to Aragorn.
Sauron will suspect a trap. He will not take the bait.
Certainty of death. Small chance of success. What are we waiting for?
Exterior fields dust.
Going so fast.
Close-ups.
Okay.
Aragorn wearing a breastplate emblazoned with the white tree.
Looks good.
He rides at the head of a column of 500 foot soldiers from Rohan and Gondor, leading them from the ruins of Osgiliath. Gandalf, Legolas, Gimli, Eomer, Merry, and Pippin ride directly behind him. Ahead of them, the mountains of Mordor.
Army's got fucked, Jesus Christ. 500 soldiers.
Yeah, well, 500, yeah, what the fuck?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
There were 20,000
Yeah, there were-
Rohirrim horses.
6,000.
Yeah,
6,000
yeah.
random and like
Yeah.
hundreds.
Yeah,
Well,
barely
like-
in Gondor.
Yeah, well, like fucking, they got
Some
smashed
thousands
to
of
pieces
Gondorians,
by
but the
big
Gondorians are fucked,
elephants.
No,
It's like only 500 that didn't sustain any injury.
And they really could have used those 200 knights they sent to Osgiliath, huh?
Hey,
Yeah.
but it was a good scene.
Turns out Denethor has.
There are
seen
plains
everything.
of Gorgorth night. Great armies of Orc and Uruk-hai stream across the plains from Mordor. Orc Road, Mordor night. Wide shot, the volcanic wasteland of the Gorgoroth foothills. Frodo and Sam, still disguised in the Orc armor, slide down
Yeah, Scree.
Scree? Okay.
Yeah.
Scree bank and land on the
Scroll.
road below. Their attention is fixed on the plain below. Thousands of orcs can be seen marching away from Mount Doom.
Look, the orcs. They're moving up. You see, Mr. Frodo, some luck at last.
Frodo and Sam moving across a hellish dry landscape of twisted volcanic rock and steaming fissures. 40 miles away, Mount Doom rises out of the plain. Its
40
feet
miles.
That's like 2
Wow.
days of travel.
founded in ashen ruin, its huge cone rising to a great height,
They're
where its reeking head is swathed in cloud. Black Gates of Mordor. Aragorn's force of 500 approaches the great Black Gates of Mordor. He positions his troops about half a mile from the gates. Gorgoroth Plain. Frodo slumps against a rock. He tries to drink from his water bottle, but finds it empty.
Oh, baby, you're getting excited for them. Screen cap that bad boy. Take mine. There's a few drops left.
Frodo gratefully takes a small sip from Sam's bottle, hands it back.
There'll be none left for the return journey.
I don't think there will be a return journey, Mr. Frodo.
A moment of eye contact between Frodo and Sam as they acknowledge what lies ahead. Sam offers Frodo his hand and pulls him up.
God, so much.
Hold him what, sorry? Oh, okay.
At the Black Gates, Aragorn musters his men. Wide on, Frodo and Sam staggering across the tortured landscape. They are no longer wearing the orc armor. Frodo is walking half bowed, often stumbling, as if his eyes no longer see the way before his feet. His right hand is pressed against his chest, supporting a heavy weight. His left hand often rises, as if to ward off some invisible blow. Sam watches him, concern etched across his face. Frodo, as a malevolent voice in his head calls to him, back in. Glows on. Sam looking behind him in time to see. A ray of red light steps through the gloom and begins to sweep over the barren landscape.
Good luck, Ian.
Frodo, get down!
Sam throws himself to the ground. Frodo turns to the light, unable to stop himself. Frodo crumpling to the ground as the red light hits him like a searchlight. Black gates of Mordor. All is quiet. No sign of the enemy.
Where are they?
Gandalf, watchful, alert. He nods at Aragorn. Aragorn, Gandalf, Legolas, Gimli, Eomer, Merry, and Pippin galloping towards the Black Gate. They pull up less than 50 yards from the towering gates. Frodo is slumped on the ground, unable to move. Aragorn moves his horse forward.
Let the Lord of the Black Land come forth. Let justice be done upon him.
From behind the huge gates, the terrifying chanting and the clanging of the armor of thousands.
Only thousands.
With the sound of tortured metal, the massive gates begin to open. Legolas, Merry, and Eomer look on in trepidation. With the eye of Sauron sweeping the plains around them, Sam gets to his feet. Black Gates of Mordor. The Black Gates of Mordor swing open. Sauron's army of 300,000 orcs march out.
I'm pretty sure that Gandalf said 10,000 before.
10,000 a second ago.
Over 9,000?
Pull back! Fucking 10,000.
Go back.
Aragorn, Gandalf, Legolas, Gimli, Eomer, Merry, and Pippin gallop back towards their small army as the orc masses slowly march.
500 against 300,000. It's gonna go great.
You have got to kill what? 600 each? 600?
Yeah.
600 each. That's a
Pretty good KDA, yeah.
Behind them, the eye of Sauron is directed towards them. Plains of Gorgoroth, Frodo's eyes open with a start.
It's gone, Mr. Frodo.
Sam crawls towards Frodo.
The light's passed on, away towards the north. Something's drawn its gaze.
Frodo and Sam stagger to their feet and move off. The massive Black Gates of Mordor. The massive orc army marching towards Aragorn's men, starting to waver as the orcs encircle them. Some men are backing away, losing their nerve. Aragorn gallops in front of his army.
Here we go.
Hold your ground! Hold your ground! Sons of Gondor, of Rohan, my brothers!
Aragorn, he seems to fix each and every one of his men with his eyes.
I see in your eyes the same fear that would take the heart of me. The day may come when the courage of men fails, when we forsake our friends and break our bonds of fellowship, but it is not this day. And our wolves and shattered shields, when the age of men come crashing down, but it is not this day. This day we fight. Oh, did you hold dear on this good earth? I bid you stand.
Aragorn holds Anduril aloft.
Men of the West!
Mount Doom. Frodo and Sam are climbing the face of Mount Doom. The landscape is violent. Red heat hisses out of fissures. The rock is jagged. Razor sharp ash blankets the land. Red lightning forks across the sky with a deafening crack. Frodo and Sam's feet dragging across the ash, their parched lips, sweating, dusty faces. Frodo trips, falls face first into the dust. Sam drops beside him. Black Gates of Mordor, high wide shot of Aragorn's army, totally surrounded by 300,000 orcs, poised for the order to attack. Mount Doom. Frodo slowly lifts his head and looks up. Looking straight up the steep slopes of Mount Doom, a huge mass of ash and slag and burned stone. Frodo starts to crawl on his hands and knees. He hauls himself a few pitiful feet before slumping in ash. Black Gates of Mordor, angle on Gimli as he surveys the army of Mordor.
Never thought I died side by side with an elf.
What about side by side with a friend?
Gimli looks up into the eyes of Legolas, with whom he has shared so much. The gruff dwarf smiles quietly.
I could do that.
Legolas drops his hand on Gimli's shoulder. Slowly they turn and face the enemy together. Gorgoroth Plains, Mordor night. Sam crawls to Frodo, who lies slumped against the rock face. He turns him over, holding him in his arms.
Do you remember the Shire, Mr. Frodo? It'll be spring soon, and the orchards will be in blossom, and the birds will be nestling in the hazel thicket, and they'll be sowing the summer barley in the lower fields, eating the first of the strawberries with cream. Do you remember the taste of strawberries?
Frodo shuts his eyes, his breath coming in gasps.
No, Sam. I can't recall the taste of food, nor the sound of water, nor the touch of grass. I'm naked in the dark. There's no veil between me and the wheel of fire. I can see it within my waking eyes.
Sam looks at Frodo with grim determination.
Then let's be rid of it. Once for all. Come on, Mr. Frodo. I can't carry it for you. But I can carry you! Come on!
With that, Sam lifts Frodo onto his shoulders and starts to climb Mount Doom. His plain hobbit face grows stern, almost grim, as the will hardens in him. Wide shot, two tiny hobbits on the endless shale slopes of the mountain. Like gates of Mordor, Angelon, Aragorn, and company watch as they are surrounded by a tide of orcs. Aragorn raises Anduril in the broad sweep as he walks forward. He turns to face the others. Quiet resolve written on Aragorn's face as he looks into the eyes of the remaining members of the Fellowship.
Poor Frodo.
Aragorn turning, sword raised, he charges forward. There is a moment of silence, no one else moves. Suddenly a shout goes up. Pippin and Merry charging forward, the rest of the men following. Aragorn crashing head-on into a line of orcs, the blade of Anduril flashing as Aragorn hacks at orcs. Slopes of Mount Doom. Like a small grey insect, Sam creeps up the slope with Frodo on
That
his
golem's coming up. So maybe we
foot
should-
Yeah.
by foot.
Well, by the
Oh,
way,
yeah, sure.
my favorite line is coming up by Gollum. Maybe his last line in the movie about the clever little hobbitses.
There's no way the last line when they.
Yeah, maybe. Well, he doesn't say that.
Do you want Chris or should I?
No, I'll go ahead.
Okay.
We're on with like a small grey.
The mantling cloud swirls.
The mantling cloud swells, revealing the cruel pinnacles and iron crown of Barad-dûr, the Dark Tower, in the distance. Sam, staggering under Frodo's weight. Strong, ash-laden winds are buffeting him as he slowly climbs Mount Doom. The plains of Gorgoroth lie 1,000 feet below, wrapped in fume and shadow. A tremor ripples through the ground. A red flame explodes into the sky. Sam looks up, fearful the mountain could explode at any moment.
That'd be funny.
Through the thick, fume-laden air,
Feel bad.
a set of stairs can be made out.
Look, Mr. Frodo. We're almost there.
Sam can't believe it. Relief and joy flood through him.
Clever hobbits to climb so high.
Smack! Out of nowhere, the figure of Smeagol crashes into them, sending Sam and Frodo sprawling. Smeagol pounces on Frodo, his fingers wrapping around his throat, snapping Frodo's neck from side to side. Frodo, as he struggles to unlock the bony white fingers around his neck, but Smeagol's grip is too strong. Smeagol's fingers tightening around Frodo's neck, squeezing the life out of him. Whack! A rock connects with the side of Smeagol's head. Sam jumps on a stunned Smeagol. Frodo comes to. Back at the Black Gates, the battle between men and orcs rages on. From Mordor, high overhead, the Nazgul fly out into the fray. Slopes of Mount Doom. All the old hatred between Sam and Smeagol boils over as they fight. Sam falls back, Smeagol biting at his shoulder. Sam pushes Smeagol away with his feet, rolls to his knees as Smeagol charges at him. Sam slashes out with Sting. He cuts Smeagol across the stomach. Smeagol staggers back, screaming with pain. Sam looks around desperately for Frodo.
Frodo!
Frodo has gone. Frodo running up the mountain. And then, Black Gates of Mordor. The Fellowship fight bravely. A hideous screech rends the air. Gandalf looks up to a Nazgul diving straight toward him. Gandalf's eyes flicker as a small moth flutters across his line of sight.
Quick perception check.
Angle on the Felbeast, jaws open, talons extended. Another cry rends the ear. Smack! The giant condor, right here, smashes into the Felbeast. Its claws ripping into the hideous monster's neck. Pippin, in the midst of the battle, looks up.
Condors!
Above the battle attack formation, more condors appear.
Okay.
The condors are coming! Condors are coming!
The condors engage the Nazgul. Duel of Tamaknar, Mount Doom. Angle on Sam, it's gasping, his lungs exploding as he races up the slopes of Mount Doom, searching for Frodo. Sam arriving at the stone doorway of Samathanaur leading into the mountain. Sam staggers into it. The Crack of Doom tunnel. Sam flinches against the fierce heat blasting down the tunnel.
Frodo!
Sam lurches forward towards an orange glow deep in the heart of the mountain. Crack of Doom. The heat is almost unbearable. Sam sees Frodo in the distance.
I'm here, Sam.
Frodo is standing on the edge of the Crack of Doom, a deep lava-filled chasm in the very heart of ancient Sauron's forges, the greatest in Middle-earth. The raging orange glare from the chasm turns Frodo into a black silhouette, standing tense and still. Frodo holds the ring in his hand. He raises it, holding it over the bubbling lava far below.
Destroy it! Go on! Throw it into the fire!
Frodo, a strange expression on his face.
What are you waiting for? Just let it go!
On the soundtrack, the hum of the ring grows louder and louder. Frodo pulls the ring close to his body as he turns to Sam. Frodo looks at Sam. The ring has finally taken him.
Are you kidding me?
The ring is mine.
Sam screams as Frodo puts the ring on. He vanishes.
No!
Black gates of Mordor. With a storm of wings, the Nazgul wheel around and hurtle towards Mount Doom. In the midst of the battle, Gandalf, realizing Frodo has been seen. Crack of Doom. Sam is screaming for Frodo. Footprints moving across the ash-covered cavern floor. Suddenly, Gollum smashes a rock down on Sam's head, knocking him to the ground. Gollum leaps onto the invisible Frodo. Frodo's footprints staggering about under Gollum's weight. Gollum clawing frantically, riding on the back of the invisible Frodo. Black gates. Aragorn turns and is confronted by an armoured troll wielding an enormous mallet. Crack of Doom. Gollum suddenly lifts his hands to his face and bites hard. Frodo materializes as he drops to his knees, clutching his bleeding hand. He screams. The fires below roar in anger. Red light blazes, and all the cavern is filled with a great glare and heat. Black gates. Legolas as Aragorn falls to the ground.
Aragorn!
Gollum triumphantly holds the ring aloft, ecstatic. Gollum dancing gleefully, perilously close to the edge of the chasm. Black gates. Aragorn turns to see the huge troll feet moving closer. Legolas races towards him. Crack of Doom. Gollum is still triumphant. On the edge of the precipice, the fiery lava casting an evil light. He jumps about in delight.
Yep, got him.
Precious! Precious!
Frodo rises slowly. His eyes lock on Gollum. Time seems to stand still as each regards the other. The ring glinting in Gollum's hand. Beautiful, powerful, evil. Suddenly, Frodo lunges at Gollum. Frodo thuds into Gollum, lifting him off his feet. Frodo and Gollum, locked in a struggle, plummet over the edge of the chasm. Black gates. Thud! The huge foot of the cave troll lands on Aragorn's chest. He stabs at it ineffectually. Gandalf in despair. Crack of Doom. Sam watches in horror as Frodo and Gollum disappear into the chasm. He staggers over. Gollum falls into the Crack of Doom, instantly engulfed in the churning lava. Sam leans into the Crack of Doom. Frodo clinging onto the rock face with his one good hand. The caverns are shaking violently. Sam desperately reaches for him. Frodo is too far down.
Give me your hand!
Frodo looks at Sam, his face impassive.
Take my hand!
Frodo struggles to reach for Sam. He can't reach with his bleeding hand and falls back, still clinging valiantly to the rock with his good hand.
No!
Frodo looks at Sam imploringly.
Don't you let go! Don't let go! Reach!
Frodo reaches up one more time, and this time Sam grasps his hand tightly. The ring sits on the river of lava for a brief moment, then sinks away. The Eye of Sauron. Across the Great Plains, Mount Doom is clearly imploding. Black gates. On the battlefield, all eyes turn to Mount Doom. The cave troll, with Aragorn at his mercy, is distracted by the sounds emanating from Mordor. He turns in terror and runs off. Barad-dûr. The Fellowship turn to watch as the massive, dark tower of Sauron shakes itself to pieces. Towers fall and walls crumble. Vast spires of smoke and steam, spouting steam, billow up. The foundations explode apart. Black gates collapse in a huge cloud of ash. The orcs are fleeing in all directions as the very foundations of Mordor collapse. The company watch as Mount Doom explodes. The reason for their misery is clear. It's plain Frodo and Sam can never survive the cataclysm. Slopes of Mount Doom. The volcano is erupting. Fire belches from its riven summit, sending lava streaming down its sides. Frodo and Sam stagger out of the Samath Now door. All ash and molten rocks fall. All around, rather. Ash and molten rocks fall.
Ash.
All of it. The skies burst into thunder, seared with lightning. The screaming Nazgul falls from the sky in flames. The ground is shaking so violently that Frodo and Sam can barely stand. Frodo stumbles. Sam helps him up. Frodo smiles.
It's gone. It's done.
Sam looks at Frodo. Frodo's face is at peace, his burden destroyed.
Yes, Mr. Frodo. It's over now.
Frodo and Sam crawl onto a rock as lava streams toward them. In seconds, their rock is an island in a sea of molten fire. Frodo shuts his eyes.
It's hard to read with your eyes shut. I can see the Shire, the Brandywine River, Bag End, Gandalf's fireworks, the lights in the party tree.
Rosie Corrin dancing. She had ribbons in her hair. If ever I was to marry someone, it would have been her. It would have been her.
Frodo glances at Sam. He is weeping. Frodo wrapping an arm around Sam's shoulder.
I'm glad to be with you, Samwise Gamgee. Here, at the end of all things.
Two tiny hobbits waiting to die amid a cataclysmic landscape. Lava erupts around them. Fireballs rain down from the sky. We slowly fade to black. Gwaihir, the great eagle, flaps towards the camera. He bears Gandalf on his back and is followed by two more eagles. The eagles bravely fly amid the raining ash and molten rocks, and snatch Frodo and Sam from the rock. Frodo's face, as the fiery volcano recedes away beneath him. The wind ruffles his hair. He passes out. Fade to black. Minas Tirith, Houses of Healing. Slow motion. Frodo's eyes flutter open, looking around. Slowly his eyes alight on Gandalf.
Gandalf?
Gandalf's face breaks into a smile, then laughter, as Merry and Pippin run in, jumping on the bed and hugging Frodo. Gimli and Legolas enter the room. Their joy is plain. I'm not sure how plain Legolas's joy is. Who's this hobbit again?
That's this guy.
Aragorn joins them. The fellowship is
Aragorn.
complete.
Sam isn't there yet.
Finally, Frodo's eyes fall upon a figure standing apart from the others. It is Sam. Frodo and Sam's eyes meet.
I guess Gandalf kind of talks here, and I don't have a single line left in the
Yeah,
entire
go,
movie,
go.
so I can.
Really? Oh.
Yeah, I looked through quickly. Who was Bilbo, by the way?
That's
That was
so
Tom,
Tom.
right?
Tom
Yeah, so
Bilbo.
yeah, I have no lines for me.
In from the healing.
Minas Tirith Court of Kings Day. Sweeping over the Minas Tirith walls, racing towards the top of the city through a blizzard of white flower petals. Minas Tirith is restored. It gleams white in the bright sun. Soaring up to reveal the Court of the Kings, crowded with 4,000 people cramming the white path leading to the Tower Hall. Close on the crown of Gondor glints in brilliant sunshine. Gandalf places the crown upon Aragorn's head.
Now come the days of the king.
Aragorn smiles up at Gandalf.
May they be blessed.
Aragorn slowly rises, turn to face the crowd who cheer and clap for their king.
The say does not belong to one man, but to all. Let us together rebuild this world, that we may share in the days of peace.
The cheer of his people are deafening. Aragorn sings for his people, then
Well,
walks
no.
in.
I can't remember. I can't remember
It's
how he
only
sings.
extended edition, I think.
I don't remember him singing at all.
No, he does. He sings really low.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's vaguely sort of Misty Mountains like.
Yeah, I can't remember.
Okay, Aragorn then walks walk in slow progression down the white paved path as the crowd bow their heads in respect to their new king. Aragorn passes Eowyn and Faramir, who bow before him. Eomer steps forward to bow in respect.
Nudge, nudge.
Trumpets sound as a procession?
Procession.
Yes.
Procession of elves
Procession.
dressed in shimmering silver and white, led by Legolas, approach the king. Legolas gestures behind him. Close on Aragorn's eyes scan among the elves.
Oh, baby, she
Angle a banner carried aloft bearing the white tree of Condor even, in full flower. The ranks of elf part revealing Arwen. Eyes shine, mortal now, but deeply in love.
Oh.
Carrying the standard of Condor, Aragorn kisses her. Elrond looks on, his face breaks into a smile. Aragorn and Arwen embrace. Aragorn and Arwen walk through the crowd towards the four small figures who stand nervously at the end of the avenue. Aragorn and Arwen look upon Frodo, Sam, Merry, and Pippin as they stand before them. The four hobbits, dressed in their old clothes, clean and mended, bow their heads. Aragorn raises his hand.
My friends, you bow to no one.
Aragorn drops to one knee, kneeling before the hobbits. His head bowed, followed by all assembled there. Tears spring into Frodo's eyes, clutches Sam's shoulder as 4,000 people pay homage to the courage of the two hobbits from the Shire. I wish all these 4,000 people were the Black Gates, by the way.
Who are these other two?
They're farmers.
Camera rises into the air, away from the crowded citadel, until Minas Tirith becomes a speck in the landscape. Middle-earth map, day. Dissolving into yeah, so many endings right here. Dissolving into the parts map of Middle-earth, slowly drifting across the map towards the west.
And thus it was a fourth age of Middle-earth began, and the Fellowship of the Ring, though eternally bound by friendship and love, was ended. 13 months to the day since Gandalf sent us on a long journey. We found ourselves looking upon a familiar sight. We were home.
Matching move revealing Hobbiton, bathed in warm sunset, as Frodo, Sam, Merry, and Pippin ride into shot on ponies, past Odo Proudfoot, who shakes his head at the strangeness of their appearance. Intermission, the Green Dragon Inn, night. Frodo brings a round of drinks to the table.
They come in pints.
So many callbacks.
Nearby, a huge fuss being made of a large pumpkin, which has been brought in to be shown off.
Well, that's really impressive here.
Angle and the four friends look at each other. The world of experience now separate from their fellow hobbits. Seated at a long table, the four friends raise their glass. Sam, eye suddenly caught. Rosie Cotton is serving behind the bar. Sam steels himself and leaves to go to talk to Rose. Frodo, Merry, and Pippin exchange smiles as well. Like, if he can fucking walk into Mordor, I better fucking hope he can go and talk to Rose.
Well, does not simply talk to Rosie Cotton.
I love Pippin's expression, like,
Hobbiton day. On a beautiful sunny day, Sam and Rosie are married, with their dearest friends gathered around them. Rosie throws a beautiful baguette. That is not for a beautiful baguette of flowers. Bouquet?
Yes.
yeah.
Okay, bouquet of flowers is caught by Pippin, who smiles and Rose. Interior bag end day. Frodo walks through bag end to his study.
How do you pick up the threads of an old life? How do you go on? When in your heart you begin to understand, there is no going back. There are some things that time cannot mend. Some hurts that go too deep, that have taken hold.
angling on Frodo from behind. He's hunched over the desk. Push in to reveal Bilbo's red book open on Frodo's desk. He's writing the last chapters. In careful, neat handwriting, Frodo turns back to the pages, revealing they are there and back again. A Hobbit's Tale by Bilbo Baggins. He writes below it as Sam Gamgee calls out. He writes it below as Sam Gamgee calls out from the door.
Mr. Frodo?
Close on Frodo winches from the shop. With a sharp gasp of pain, he puts the pen down and clutches at his shoulder. Sam enters the room and stands behind Frodo.
What is it?
Frodo, he's drawn and pale.
It's been 4 years to the day since Weathertop, Sam. It's never really healed.
Sam, at a loss of words, his eye fall on the book. Eyes.
There and back again. A Hobbit's Tale by Bilbo Baggins.
Title down to Frodo's handwriting.
And The Lord of the Rings by Frodo Baggins. You finished it!
Not quite. There's room for a little more.
Another ending.
Great stories never end, guys. Great stories never end.
The book would be going even longer.
Yeah.
It's a never-ending story.
A cold winter's morning, out in the fog rattles a small covered wagon. Gandalf is at the reins. Frodo, Sam, Merry, and Pippin are waiting on ponies for the wagon, all wearing their grey elven robes.
Bilbo once told me, the great stories never end, but each of us must come and go in the telling. His part of this tale was now over. There will be no more journeys for Bilbo, save one.
Gandalf arrives in his cart. Syria West. Bearwing.
Farthing.
Farthing. The wagon trundles along a sedate path. Sedate?
Yeah.
Sedated path. Sam, Merry, Pippin right behind, leading Frodo's empty pony.
Tell me again, lad. Where are we going?
To the harbor, Bilbo. The elves have accorded you a special honor, a place on the last ship to leave Mother Earth.
Interior wagon, day. Close on Frodo sitting in the wagon, his arm around his uncle Bilbo. Bilbo is old and frail. He's dozing, his head is slumped.
Good, Tom. Good work. Very old and fair.
Bill's eyes are open. With effort, he raises his head.
Frodo, any chance of seeing that old ring of mine? The one I gave you?
Sorry, Uncle. I'm afraid I lost it.
Oh, pity. I should like to have held it one last time.
Bilbo nods back to sleep. Frodo rests his head against him. Exterior, the Grave Havens. Angle and Frodo walking arm in arm with Bilbo through a beautiful elven boathouse. Gandalf follows with Merry, Pippin, and Sam. Close on us, Bilbo looks up. He is stung by the beauty before him.
Oh, well, here's a sight I have never seen before.
Tracking past a beautiful elven archway to reveal a white ship ready to depart from the white stone dock. Elrond, Celeborn, and Galadriel are waiting for them. The setting sun slowly dripping behind the sea, visible behind the headlands of the beautiful inlet. Of a beautiful inlet.
The lightning is
The
beautiful.
lightning is beautiful. The lightning is beautiful. Sun streams through the sails, casting an ethereal glow on the ground as they walk onto the docks. Bilbo bows in acknowledgement to Elrond, Celeborn, and Galadriel, who returns his greeting.
The power of the three rings is ended. The time has come for the dominion of men.
Oir gan Venama. Thy seagulls as no me.
Beautiful.
Got the strongest accent all of a sudden.
Yeah.
Salvage.
Yeah.
Yeah, Tiki.
And that's how they present it.
Las
That's-
home, man.
Oh,
Horrible.
Yeah. Elrond holds out his arm to Bilbo, who suddenly seems much younger and
Sprightly.
Brightly, yeah.
sprightlier.
I
Jesus
try a little
Christ.
better, Tom. Come on.
Not capitalized. Anyway, he sets off down the path towards the host.
I think I'm quite ready for another adventure.
Bilbo walks down towards the boat and boards with Elrond. Angel and Frodo looks up. Galadriel is watching him. She smiles, turns, and boards the boat. Gandalf kneels before Sam, Merry, and Pippin, who are all looking tearful.
Farewell, my brave hobbits. My work is now finished. Here, at last, on the shores of the sea, comes the end of our fellowship.
There is a great sadness. Merry sniffles loudly.
Jesus.
I will not say, do not weep, for not all tears are evil.
What tears are evil? Anyway, Clothon and Gandalf turn and walk away. Frodo is downcast. Suddenly, Gandalf turns and looks towards him.
It is time, Frodo.
What?
Gandalf looks at Frodo, then turns slowly, walks towards the gangplank to board the ship.
What does he mean?
Frodo turns to Sam.
We set out to save the Shire, and it has been saved. But not for me.
You don't mean that. You can't leave.
Sam looks down. Frodo is holding Bilbo's red journal out towards him.
The last pages are for you, Sam.
Sam is sobbing. Merry and Pippin are distraught. Frodo hugs Merry and Pippin, and last of all Sam, and climbs aboard the ship. Angel and Frodo look of wonderment crosses his face as he steps forward and accepts Gandalf's hand. Finally released from his pain, care falls from his face. He is the young Frodo we first met so long ago. Sam, Merry, Pippin comfort each other as the white ship glides away from the dock. The white boat sails away from the headlands, disappearing into golden light of the setting sun. Angel and Sam, in growing darkness, still following the departing ship with his eyes. Merry and Pippin are already preparing to leave. Let's go for another ending. Exterior, number 3, Backshot Row. Sam walks up the path towards his house. The little girl toddles up to greet him.
Eleanor.
He hugs his daughter.
Oh, my dear Sam, you cannot always be torn in two. You have to be one and whole for many years. You have so much to enjoy and to be and to do. Because Sam, your part in the journey goes on.
Rosie Cotton steps up and kisses Sam on the cheek. She gives him a tiny baby boy to cradle.
Hello, Mr. Little Frodo.
For each lip, yeah.
Sam and his family. Angel and Sam and his family. He draws a deep breath.
Well, I'm back.
Sam looks at his lovely family with great happiness, tinged with a little sadness. Sam and Rosa takes the children's hands and enter the back shot. The bright yellow doorway closes behind them. Fade to black. The end.
Man, imagine naming your kid after your ex. Like that's
It's a bit BM.
no.
Yeah.
Well, it's better than fucking the way Harry Potter named his fucking kid.
Also put the credits of Jacko, who voiced who.
Yeah, of course. And I think it's fitting that Potter was the one who did the narration at the end, as he also started the narration in the first
Yeah, oh
one.
my god. That's it, man.
It's beautiful.
It's
I
going
was going to say, after doing Alfredo, I think I like Fellowship still the best. It's my favorite film. I think it's also my favorite script.
Yeah, I think I agree with
I
you.
think it went the best. Yeah, I think it went the best. I always like this one.
I mean, you're right, but like, are you so sure? Like,
Well, we can't judge until I have all 3 videos edited and ready to go.
Oh god. And then post it on the subreddit. Put on the Lord of the Rings meme subreddit and get like a trend going, and everyone will post a version of it. You can start a new trend. Yeah.
Okay.
What the hell?
Perfect.
Well, good shit, good job, guys.
Well, fucking condors though. Like,
dude, that was
God fucking damn.
that really fucked over the entire.
I was like, fuck, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to do this.
at least you stopped yourself at the end with the eagles who saved them from the volcano. At least.
Yeah,
You didn't stop yourself. You said the condors are coming.
I mean,
Yeah,
he followed on my lead there. Like,
Yeah. Chris started saying condors, and then he just kept going with condors.
We're invasive, you know.
exactly.
Yeah,
but then
alright.
I switched back to eagles for the very last. But that would have been inappropriate,
Too many.
Okay, well, that was good shit.
Good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Good shit, yeah.